accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
This is the Big O Show.
There's many ways to support our program, from subscribing and liking the show to visiting our terrific sponsors. Another way is using Cash App. If you would like to donate to the show and help us grow, download Cash App and search Cash Big O Show. That's Cash Big O Show. We appreciate your support as we continue to build the best sports show on the planet for South Florida sports fans. Support the Big O Show by using Cash App and donate to Cash Big O Show. Thank you for your incredibly loyal support.
This is the Big O Show.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
This is the Big O Show.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available, from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
This is the Big O Show.
Starting in August, longtime Miami Heat insider Ira Winderman joins the Big O Radio Show. Ira will give insight twice a week on your favorite NBA team. Heat fans get the information you crave from one of the best in the business. From weekly appearances to breaking news, join Ira Winderman exclusively on the Big O Show. Found on most platforms.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Welcome aboard on a beautiful Tuesday. I hope you all are doing well out there. Love it. We are loaded. We are locked and loaded. We are ready for another fantastic program. Obviously, thank you all for tuning in and downloading, which, again, I cannot say enough about what's going on with the numbers and the downloads. It is, again, very blessed, and just another great reason why we're going to be doing this on an everyday basis, and hopefully doing a lot of growing. So I appreciate all of you out there. Got a lot of things to talk about today, man. Wow. I mean, loaded football talk. Basketball, obviously, we got the NBA Finals, got the Marlins struggling, got some great guests on today. Matt Verderam, who does an excellent job. I've had Matt on, I don't know, all kinds of times here on Sirius, everywhere. I've had him on. He's fantastic. He does a great job of covering the NFL for Fansided. So we'll talk to Matt Verderam at 11:30. We'll get his thoughts on some of the trade rumors out there, what's going to happen, not just with X, but, with Aaron Rodgers, and get his feel for some of the things going on around the league. At 12:30, got another very interesting interview, especially for Dolphin fans out there, because a lot of people have mentioned New Orleans as a possible landing spot for Xavier Howard. And I know that they've got to re-sign their other corners. So Larry Holder, who I've known for many years, he is going to join us to kind of walk us through all of this, because if they're going to sign Lattimore, can they afford it? I know they don't have the Breeze contract on their books, so maybe they can work it. Now, listen, in the NFL, you can sacrifice your future money too by signing bonuses and put them out to the life of the contract and put them on and backload them and things like that. But then again, you'll be paying a price down the line. Eventually, you're going to have less cap space as it goes, because that's what ends up happening. It's a hard cap. It's still, while they let you play with future money, you will be using that future money, and that future space you won't be able to use, so it is what it is, but whatever. So we'll have some fun with Larry, and I want to get his thoughts on, are the Saints a realistic destination for Xavier Howard? Because this is the kind of stuff that we've got to now explore over the next couple weeks, maybe months, even if he does take the field and plays with the team. Because there's a part of me that Miami is going to play hardball here and make them play this year. Because remember, if you listened to our conversation yesterday between me and Omar, one of the things that I mentioned was that if you wait a year, the cap hit is alleviated drastically. I mean, drastically. It goes down, man, I'll look it up again, but I want to say it's like 2 million or something. You know what I mean? It's like a joke. And so I think that's what they want to do. They want to get to that point where when they trade them, they don't take the cap hit in the process. If you trade them now, you are going to take a hit from the signing bonus. So that's where it gets interesting. And I love the way they design contracts, because they try to design a contract for the Dolphins. At least this is what Chris Greer's done since he's taken over. He tries to design contracts that are not going to hurt the team on a long-term basis. And that's very, very intelligent on their part. I mean, there's a lot of things that I like about what the Dolphins are doing now. It's a lot of the things that I complained about for over 20 years. Anybody that's followed the show. And now they're doing things that this is how you traditionally and should build a team through this cap era. You've got to be smart. You can't tie yourself up, and you can't take a lot of BS, because you cannot allow the players to control it, because there isn't enough money to pay all the stars. That's just the way it is. Teams win Super Bowls, and most of the time, unless you're Kansas City and Tampa, but most of the time you have tons of defections because everybody wants to get paid. You know what I mean? And I don't know if COVID and all the other things that have gone on have kind of kept these two teams kind of keeping all their players together. And I get it too. When you have Pat Mahomes and you have Tom Brady, players will want to gravitate and stay there because, come on, man. I mean, you got a better chance to win with those guys than anybody else. So I get it. I do understand it, but it's a very interesting thing that the Dolphins are trying to overcome here with a player who is complaining about his salary and his pay. And, and again, if you listen to our conversation yesterday, which I thought, Omar and I had a phenomenal conversation. It was a 50-minute one. And normal, and don't get spoiled. I mean, that segment's not supposed to be 50 minutes, but this isn't regular radio. So I'm not tied to a commercial break that I have to play right away or anything like that. If there's conversation, I'm going to let it go. And it's going to go as far as it goes. And that's what we did yesterday, Omar and myself. And I thought it was fantastic. Great points by Omar. And I think maybe I got one in, maybe. But it was a lot of fun. And I encourage you to check that out because there were a lot of things that we talked about in that exchange and this situation with X and the Miami Dolphins. What else do I before I get heavy into sports? Um, I told you, didn't I tell you yesterday that crypto was going to? I got lucky on the guess, and I think it's going to dip a little bit more. Okay, I got Stellar at such a. I just bought it at 20 cents or something. Which is awesome. I'm not going to stop buying. I bought Matic. I think Matic. By the way, Matic. Polygon is at 60 cents right now. I bought some of it. And if it drops again, I'll buy a little bit more. I am not going to flinch on any of this because I know it's all the USDC coin just teamed up with MasterCard. What was it? Fresco, Leon, you sent me that tweet. And I was preparing for the show. I wasn't looking up crypto. And so he sends me this. And it's amazing news, and it just shows you that institutions, financial institutions, and the big boys, they know crypto's the future. MasterCard adopts USDC crypto coin and taps Circle Pay for its new initiative to settle transactions between card issuers and MasterCard itself, expanding interoperability between existing payment networks and USDC is happening. And remember, what did I tell you where to stash your money? Instead of the bank, USDC coin, right? Okay. So, because that's the stable coin that I do trust. I know Tether's huge, but I trust USDC coin a little bit more than that. And so eventually, when it's all said and done, all of this will bounce back, and it'll take off when it's all at the end, by the end of this year and going into 2022, it'll be a whole different ball game and people will be looking at it. Those that don't know anything about it, obviously they'll continue to deny it and all that good stuff. But outside of that, I expect it to go up after this. Once we finish this market correction and then it starts going back up again, or this bear market, however you want to call it, it doesn't matter to me. For me, I call it correction, and I'm going to take advantage of it because I know it's going to come back up again. I'm not going to worry about it. But anyway, and that, not a financial advisor, so I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I'm just telling you what I'm going to do with mine overall. Let's see. What else do we have that I wanted to? Oh, yes. So I watched the Jeff Bezos takeoff and go to space and then come back down again, which didn't really, I think like 20 minutes, the whole thing. It really is truly amazing technology. The booster dislocates and it comes right back down and it lands practically at the center of the damn target, which is just amazing. And then they go up to space and then it comes right back down again with Bezos and the older woman, the 18-year-old kid, and then I think it was his brother, right? The other one. I think that's what it was. And it was kind of to show that the average person, no matter who, can make it to space and back. And I saw the interview yesterday with Bezos where he was explaining that the idea is they had done it 15 times and this was the 16th, but this one was with humans. And that from here on out, what they want to do is start to create a platform where they can travel constantly and back and forth. And then obviously they're going to try to build some kind of space station. And his idea is to start it so then the next generation continues it, because they feel that some of the answers for Earth are out in space. And maybe they are. Who knows, man? I'm not smart enough. Now, did anybody notice that rocket ship looked kind of odd? Just saying. I mean, not, it's not that my mind is in the gutter or anything like that, but I saw a big penis going to space. I mean, I'm serious. If you did not watch the rocket take off, go watch it. Okay, I'm sure it's all over YouTube there. It's all over the place. It was a big penis going into space. Now I'm thinking about this. And then again, Bezos was cheating on his wife with Lauren Sanchez. Smoking hot Lauren Sanchez. So it's kind of, a guy that uses his dick often would fly up in a dick. I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things. But it didn't escape me. I'm sorry. And I know lots of other people thought it. They just don't have the balls to say it. That's the only thing that thing needed was balls. And if you look, there's like there's like attachments that's probably where they went. I'm serious. Go look at the rocket. I'm not joking whatsoever. It just looked like a dick penetrating space. I mean, that's just what it looked like. I'm sorry. I can't do anything about it. But Bezos, way to go, baby. All right. Remember, you can reach out to us and communicate any way you want. You can communicate with us right here on the YouTube chat board. You can send me an email at Big O Radio Show. I encourage you to send me emails. For those of you that are podcasting the show, day, nights, weekends, middle of the night, I don't care. You have to agree or disagree with me on anything. Say it. What you like about the show, suggestions for the shows, whatever. You guys make suggestions all the time, and sometimes I actually add them to the show. You know what I mean? I don't only add the presents that some of you guys send us to the show, but I also add some of the elements that you guys think of. So I appreciate all of you out there. So send me an email whenever you want. Something you agree or disagree with me, that's fine. And of course, it's at Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. Okay, send it there. And of course, other ways to support our program is by Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show is the address. Cash Big O Show. Send it on in, and we love you for it as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. Oh, your throat all healed. How's Bill doing? Bill's hanging in there. That's all I can say. Bill's not having an easy time with the back deal. Okay, so don't want to get into his medical condition, but yeah, I know he's having a rough time, man. So hopefully he'll get some rest and get through it all. But yeah, it's I mean, when somebody T-bones you, dude, and you're just driving, it just that shakes your body, man. That shakes your body, and it does some damage. So hopefully he can get back to 100% is what we need. I was just talking to him yesterday, actually. So, but he's doing good spirits wise and all that stuff. He's fighting through it, so he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He just needs a lot of therapy and a lot of rest. Unfortunately, is what he's going to need. What else do we have here? Let me do a little roll call here. GP Trap, of course, reminds everybody, says good morning and smash that like button. That like button is so important for all of you to smash for us. Please, please, please. Steve Chapman says another beautiful day. Robert Triana's in. Willie Molina is in. And Willie, you're good, bro. It's all good. A lot of people didn't know about the Cephalo stuff, so don't worry about it, my man. It's all good. NorCal is in. Big O rule 420. You must like the show before commenting. Puff, puff, like. There you go. John Rouse is in the house. Omar Lopez, Kelvin Smith, Ragin' Dolphin Maniac says, guys, only a few more days to go until training camp. Amen. Ohio John, Troy Ortiz, Fins 1. I hope this Tua Watson drama stops. Tua time. Oh, this stuff ain't gonna. It sells, man. As they say, if it bleeds, it leads, that kind of stuff. That's what we are in this. We want to lead with the tabloid stuff. We don't want to talk about boring stuff. They want to talk about trades and drama and holdouts and all that stuff. That gets the clicks, man. Marta is in. I'm still tripping about these people traveling to space this morning. Crazy and amazing. Yeah, especially in a big penis. John Santos is in. Daniel Marquez is in. Guillermo, Eddie Lepp, Call of Duty, Big Mike, Sean Campbell, Mitchell Young. Let's see. Ian from Brooklyn. Tack Loves Art. JDM Wizard, Don Parlamento, Bones. Damn, a lot of you in there. JG Long, JDM Wizard, Call of Duty says Bezos penetrated the upper atmosphere. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Let's see. And JDM says maybe it's the best aerodynamics. Yeah, I mean, the penis could do it. Ian O'Reilly, thank you, sir. Sending it in on the Cash App. Yeah. Thank you for a little Cash App. Thank you, sir. Let's see. Like the end of Austin Powers had the rocket with the balls. Exactly. Yeah. That's all it needed. But the balls aren't aerodynamic, so they probably took them off for the trip. Let's see. Mitchell Young says, I find the technology so amazing today. I find it so impressive that Bezos has accomplished since we are both Miami Palmetto High class of 81. Yeah, I mean, it is amazing. And listen, it's where we're going eventually. We got to, obviously expand. Call of Duty says, I never look at my crotch and thought, boy, that thing is aerodynamic. Well, it does penetrate. Let's see. What up, Big O? What's your take on ESPN hiring the Manning brothers to do alternative Monday Night Football telecast? If the current MNF crew of Riddick and Brian Levy, I would be pissed. Yeah, but they're getting paid, so it doesn't matter. And Riddick's going to get paid no matter what. So to them, it's not a big deal. But I will say this about that, okay? I will say this. If you look at, and for those of you that don't know, ESPN has signed on the Manning brothers. Peyton and Eli will head a special Monday Night Football broadcast, okay? They'll be on the Deuce. Now, they're going to work 30 broadcasts over the next 3 years. So that means they're not working every broadcast. So they're working a little more than half the season. You'll get the guys throughout this whole thing. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to do it from a remote location, so they're not at any of the stadiums, and they're going to be joined by named hosts and celebrities and well-known, for current and former players. So all of a sudden now you're going to have like this hodgepodge of people just talking about the game, and then it's going to be minimized in a smaller screen. So you'll never miss the game, but it's in a smaller screen. So you're not really going to be seeing the game the way you'd like. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to have its moments when the Manning brothers are there. I don't know what it's going to be like without the Manning brothers. And so are you going to find yourself switching back and forth, or are you going to go see? Because I would imagine that the regular telecast will be the bare bones, break down the game, what's going on, all that kind of stuff. And then this one, it seems like there's going to be a lot of storytelling, a lot of clowning around, which, by the way, goes very well in today's world. Okay? I mean, goofing off on the air and just really saying nothing is popular. It's something that happens a lot in radio nowadays. So radio that's kind of directed into specific directions, it's a little bit more challenging for folks, obviously, because you've got to find the hardcore. We don't have enough people anymore that have the attention span for that stuff. That's why, hey, man, I used to do shows for 4 hours that I could do X's and O's for 4 hours. Can't do that anymore. And I talk more sports than anybody else does in South Florida, period. It's not even close. It's not even up for debate. Okay? I don't spend my time a ton goofing off and all that stuff. You know, I joke around. Look, I joked around with the Bezos thing. I'll joke around, dude. I'll have some fun. I'll take some shots, but I'll move on and I'll talk about actual stuff that's going on. Whether it matters to one person or not, I don't know. That's, you're not going to satisfy everybody. But goofing off is kind of a thing nowadays. And so this is something that actually will work, especially with the short attention span people. You're not going to get deep, in-depth breakdowns there. I would imagine that there's going to be a lot of storytelling, joking around. It's more for entertainment purposes. So it really depends on who you are and what you want to see. If you're hanging out with your girl, you may want to put ESPN2 on. If she's not much of a football fan, at least the game is still on for you, but they're talking and maybe they're, Peyton's funny. Eli has some dry humor, and I'm sure they're going to add some other people that are kind of in the mix of that they have some kind of a sense of humor. And then that would be a little bit more entertaining for different kinds of football fans. Maybe fringe, that kind of stuff. But the hardcore, I think, will probably still end up watching ABC because that's where the whole game is being played, and they're going after over every review, and they're going after every replay, and they're going to show you the touchdown 2 or 3 times in several angles and all those kind of things. And those are the things we're spoiled with and we want to see. I don't know if you're going to see that on the Deuce. I doubt you're going to see that because then why would you do that? Why would you do that? You know what I'm saying? What you want to do is something that's polar opposite of what you're doing. In other words, you don't want to be like they're called Odyssey now, but they were oh damn now I'm forgetting the damn name of that crappy ass company, but they had Hawk and Crowder on 790 and 560 at the same time. Do you know how incredibly stupid that is as an organization? That you would put any show on in the same 2 stations that cover the same market area. I mean, if one was in Central Florida and one was in South Florida, then okay, that's different. Now you're simulcasting. But you're not simulcasting when you're when the signals are the same signals. That's just stupid. Right? But then again, Intercom and Odyssey. I mean, Intercom's so broke, they changed their name to Odyssey so they can spend more money on trying to change their image, but their entire format sucks. Their company sucks and it's bleeding left and right. They'll be filing bankruptcy soon, but this is what stupid companies do. You know, Intercom, if you were a smart company, which you're not, that's why you're in desperation now, and you keep firing people and letting people go. And people are leaving, actually. They're leaving, and if you don't get fired, you leave because it's just a terrible company. But if you were smart, they would have put a show that's completely opposite of Hawk and Crowder. So they can gain the other audience that may not be as into that show. Nothing against those guys. They do a terrific job. But that's smart. You know what I mean? That's what you got to do at ESPN. I would imagine that's what they're going to do. They're going to do something that's polar opposite of a regular Monday night broadcast. So it all depends on what's your appetite for it. Okay? Now, if we get a really, really crappy Monday night football game, you might go to that one. That one, then I can see because you don't really care about the game. The teams really are irrelevant. They've had some bad years and injuries, and we're in week 10 or 12, and that they're kind of out of it already. Both of them are kind of out of it, and it's not a sexy matchup, that kind of stuff. Then maybe you go to ESPN2 now, and you go, oh well, you know what? It's not a great matchup. Let's see if Peyton makes me laugh and talks about something funny or something like that. That's what I think is going to happen. You know what I mean? So I personally will still watch the regular broadcast. I will check it out. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to check out what they do, but I don't think that I'll be watching, at least right now, my guess, because that's all I got. My guess is that I'll still be locked into the regular broadcast. Listen, man, I've been watching Monday Night Football my entire life. Okay. I don't watch because of the broadcasters. The last time I watched for a broadcaster, his name was Howard Cosell. Okay. Let's just be absolutely frank and honest. Okay. And obviously there's a bunch of young people out there that only know the name. Maybe even some of you don't even know the name, but to me, that's the only guy that I ever listened to that I was like, okay, it's all right. I'm listening, Howard's on. It's because I knew Howard wasn't going to take any shit from anybody. Howard was going to call it like he saw it. It didn't matter. He would challenge anybody. It was just one of those things that you loved about Howard Cosell, and so yes, that was probably the last time because when that guy retired, that for me was a void that was never filled. You know what I mean? It's like when we had Rick Weaver and then we had Bill and Mad Dog, they haven't been able to match that. Sorry. Bill and Mad Dog had this amazing relationship, entertaining on the air. Rick Weaver was my favorite play-by-play guy. It just hasn't been the same since. It's just things like that. It just got to do things the right way. And we'll see. I think ESPN will do that where they'll be polar opposite of what goes on. And I don't think broadcasters anymore bring me ever to a game. I just let the analysts break it down and I'll check it out and all that. But I'm not tuning in because Mike Tirico's making the call, dude. He's excellent, but he does nothing for me. You know what I'm saying? Nothing whatsoever. He's excellent at what he does, but no buzz. That's the thing. What's up, Big O? Send you oh yes, thank you, Ian. Appreciate you on Cash App. Thank you. Appreciate it. Mike No Go Zones is checking in. DF. Oh, do you think the Watson news is true about Miami's interest? Who wrote that? Who wrote it? Can you answer that? Do you know who wrote it? Huh? Come on, man. I like Adam a lot, dude. Adam does a nice job, but he's a drama guy, and I don't think there's any substance to it whatsoever. Zero. They're not going after Watson. When they open it up, do you think they'll inquire? Of course, because they'll try to get, like I told you, low-hanging fruit just to see, hey, yeah. But that's not going to be low-hanging fruit. That's going to be a world of picks. They're not going to be in any kind of race to get Deshaun Watson. In fact, they may not even inquire anymore at this point because it'll become so out of control. Why do that? So they're going to trade. They're going to amass a whole bunch of picks. And then in the end, they're going to end up giving a whole bunch of picks back. No, I don't think that's how it works for them. I think they're dead set on Tua. But, there are those, whether it's Mike Florio, whether it's Adam Beasley, you get more clicks with that drama. It's boring to say what I'm saying. The Dolphins, I think, are completely focused on Tua. That's it. I don't think they have interest in Watson. I'd be shocked if they're trading for Watson. Okay? Unless they're getting him for a second-round pick, and then, well, yeah, of course you're going to trade the guy, for a first round or a second round. Yeah, sure. But this is going to be 3 first-rounders, 2 second-rounders, a third and a fourth in following years, and it's just going to be an absolutely ridiculous number that's going to go on. So that's the problem with all of that. In fact, why don't we do this? All right, we promised you that Matt Verderam is going to join us from Fansided. We're going to talk a little NFL here with Matt. Let's bring him aboard. Matt, how you doing, my brother?
I'm good. Oh, how are you?
I cannot complain, my friend. I am just enjoying life and getting ready for football season. Let me ask you, since we've got you here now, and by the way, you can follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderam and catch his exceptional work covering the NFL for Fansided. All right, Matt, so we talk about Xavier Howard. What are you hearing? Because for me, I feel like he's going to be moved, but I almost kind of feel like it may end up being next year where the Dolphins will play hardball because the cap hit next year is minimal to nothing, whereas this year they would have to take on a severe hit. So I kind of feel that they want to get their value maybe in the offseason and have one more year under the belt. And that way you're 2 years removed from domestic issues, knee issues, all those kind of things. And they can kind of say, hey, for 2 years, he's been fine and all that. And the value goes up and they can try to get him. But a lot of people feel that he could be traded in the next couple of months here. What are you hearing, man?
I think they need to get a first-round pick to trade him. This is a guy who last year was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate, right? He was the best corner in football last season. Certainly in the top 2 or 3, if you want to argue with Jalen Ramsey, he was great. And his contract is palatable considering what kind of player he is, what his age is. So for a team that needs a corner, the real question is, can they afford him right now under the cap? And I think that's where it's tricky.
Matt, we're having trouble. Matt, your connection's a little iffy there. It's kind of going in and out. Let me see. Try again now.
That ain't better?
No.
You know what? Let's do this. Does that work? Is that better?
No. Let's reconnect again. Let's reconnect. All right. Let's see. Let's get Matt on and let's see if we can reconnect with him. And there we go. And then maybe get a better connection on the internet there. And we'll get Matt Verderam back because I want you guys to hear Matt talk, because Matt does a really good job. Matt does a really good job of working the league and has great insight. So I want to make sure we're able to hear him. All right, Matt, you there?
I am. Is this any
All right.
better?
Oh, dude,
Beautiful.
sounds beautiful. Go
Okay.
ahead.
So no, what I was going to say is I think the Dolphins need to get a first-round pick for Howard. If they don't get a first-round pick, there's no reason you'd move him. He's too good of a player. He was the defensive player of the year candidate last season, 10 picks. You could argue he was the best corner in football last season. And if you're the Dolphins, like, you have high hopes for Tua, but the defense is really the pillar that might carry you to a playoff spot, that might keep you in contention in the AFC East. And so what is the strongest part of that defense? Well, it's Howard and it's Byron Jones on the back end, right? Like, that is the strength. It allows you to be more aggressive up front. And so I think, yeah, if you're Miami, you're probably not trading in this offseason unless you're blown away, or even in training camp, unless you're blown away by an offer. I think we're seeing the same thing on a much larger scale play out in Green Bay, where the Packers are saying, look, we'll trade you next year when we have 15 teams that can afford you and that'll be suitors for you. Like, that's the other side of this. Xavier Howard is not cheap. So a lot of teams that might want him, like take a Kansas City, for example. I think Kansas City desperately needs a corner. They can afford Xavier Howard. Yeah. Next offseason they could, right? Like, but I think that's where, if you're a team trading a guy like that now, you're somewhat painted into a corner. I don't think it behooves them to make a deal right now, unless, again, they get great value.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it, because I'm talking about the cap. And then, Matt, you bring up an exceptional point that you trade him now, you're not going to get the same value as next offseason, where you have another year under the belt that he kicks ass. And then now you could get the world for him in return. And you'll know where everybody stands in the draft, Matt. That's the other thing right now. You trade for a pick now, you really don't know what kind of a year that team's going to have, but that team's going to have a better year because you just gave him X. So he might mean a couple of extra wins, which then knocks your draft pick down. So that's an exceptional point on your part, that I was talking about the money hit next year be less, and the value, you're talking about gaining more value in the offseason. That's a really smart move on your part.
Well, look, he's 28 years old. And when you start looking at the contract next year, now any team that trades for him is going to have to rework his contract. That's why he's upset in the first place, right? So you're not getting him on that deal, because if you did, you'd be looking at basically no guaranteed money after this season, which is why Xavier Howard wants to get a new deal. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. Like, he's probably looking at this going, I'm having the best years of my career. This is an opportunity for me to restructure. This is an opportunity for me to get one more really big payday before my value starts to plummet on the other side of 30. And so I don't blame him. Now, I think if you're the Dolphins, you got to look at this thing and go, if we get one more year out of him and then trade him and get a good return, that worked out about as well as it could have. Like, we ended up getting his best years. We don't have to pay the huge dollars, and we get a top 50 pick, whatever the case may be. And now all of a sudden, some other team that gets him, they've got to hope that he's good till he's 32 years old. And there's always inherent risk in that. Like, a lot of times in the NFL, when you trade for a guy, you're trading for what they've been, obviously, and you're hoping that that projection ends up being, hey, this guy's going to play this way for 4 more years. But in pro sports, especially in the NFL, guys fall off a cliff. And you've always got to be – I mean, that's why the Patriots for 20 years are so great, along with Brady and Belichick. Belichick was the master of that. Projecting, even if he was a year early, they never paid guys too late. They got off of those guys quick. And where's Brian Flores from? He's from New England. Like, that's a lesson learned, right? So I would expect that he and Chris Greer probably look at this and say, we'd like to make the playoffs this year, maybe win a playoff game. Let's make a run at that. Let's not trade Xavier Howard unless we get a great return. But if we go to the playoffs this year, things go well, and he still wants out, fine. We'll deal him for the 20th pick in the draft, and we'll continue to stockpile assets.
Let me just check, Matt. Is Bill O'Brien managing any team right now?
I hope not. No.
Oh, damn it. All right. Well, then the Dolphins lost out on their chance to smoke somebody really foolish and knock them out. All right, my man. So let's move over to Green Bay that you just mentioned it. So let's segue to that one. Aaron, we kind of don't know what the hell he's going to do. Some guys say he's going to report. Some say he's not. Schefter just reported that they offered him a 2-year extension to make him the highest paid player in the league, period. And he turned that down. So obviously, dude, his hate for Gutekunst is at some stratosphere that Jeff Bezos can't even reach right now. So what's the deal?
Well, I think, look, if you're turning down being the highest paid player in the NFL and NFL history, you're pretty pissed off. But again, he has no leverage. Like, if you're the Packers, you're going to do, and I've been saying this since the day this all became public in April, you're going to tell him, we don't care. You're playing here. If you don't want to play here, then go retire. And while you're at it, cut us a check for $23 million because you owe us $23 million. Oh, and also that contract that has $100 million left on it, poof, gone. I don't care how much you're worth. You're not walking away from that. The idea that he's going to go ask for somebody's daily double and walk away from $100+ million is insane. He's not doing that. So I think the way this plays out is, look, he probably doesn't show up to camp right away. It becomes a storyline day in day out, which, by the way, I don't think the Packers hate. If he doesn't show up, that means Jordan Love gets all these big valuable reps in training camp and in preseason.
What if he looks terrible in those reps?
That's a problem. That's a problem.
Remember, look, you and I are old enough. Remember when Emmett held out and the Cowboys lost those first 2 games and Jerry took a shit in his pants and went right back to
paid him a fortune
and paid him and brought him back in. I'm wondering, does he do some of that? Because maybe, as much as he likes the kid, he might not know. He might know that he's not ready yet.
He might, and that's certainly, look, the Packers offering this big extension does tell you a little bit of what they might think of Jordan Love. Because if they thought they had the next, not even a Patrick Mahomes, if they thought they had Justin Herbert sitting there, they might be more apt to just be like, look, we're not giving you an extension. We don't care. The fact that they were right, someone of that ilk. If they think that they have somebody like that sitting there in Jordan Love, they're probably more apt to say, we're not going to give you an extension, whatever. However, they are saying, hey, we'll give you some more years. Sure. Well, if you're doing that, then you're not all that high on Jordan Love. That being said, I still think for the Packers, again, it goes back to what we just talked about with Xavier Howard. If the Packers tomorrow said, we're going to trade him, what is the market for him? You got to be able to send over the picks. You got to be able to afford him, right? Like, there's a lot of moving parts to that. And if you're Rodgers, you want out, you'd be happy to get out. You got to go somewhere and figure out the offense in a month. That is a recipe.
Matt, it went haywire on us again, my brother. I'm so sorry. Yes, it went haywire. I'm so sorry.
Is awful.
Let's see. Okay, go ahead now. See if it picks up again, because it looks like it's refocusing because you're freezing on me there a second. So that's why.
Is that any better?
Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
If you're Rodgers and you get out of there even right now, you're thrilled, right? Yeah. You're out. You got what you wanted, but you have a month to go learn an offense. Is that ideal? So no. I think they're all better off just playing it out this year. And I think that's what's going to end up happening, even if he holds out.
Yeah. And again, it's also kind of the same thing that you mentioned with Xavier Howard. You're probably better off holding off a year, because then whoever you deal with, you know exactly where they stand in the draft and all the picks, and you can kind of really, weigh the offers. Because as you and I know, dude, there's going to be a couple of teams that are going to say, yeah, New Orleans and Philadelphia and Denver and all these teams that have kind of been mentioned that, hey, they might be interested in a guy like Rodgers.
Well, I also think, too, if you wait a year, let's just say we're talking a lot about the Dolphins. What happens if Tua is not this year? The Dolphins have a ton of picks. The Dolphins could call them up next offseason and go, look, we'll give you 3 firsts and a handful of other stuff, and we'll take Aaron Rodgers and immediately be a Super Bowl contender. Yeah. Immediately. What if you're the Raiders, okay, who have already been rumored to be interested in him, right? Like Derek Carr, this is it from Derek Carr, in my opinion, in all likelihood, in Vegas. What if you're the Raiders and you just say, look, we'll give you the 10th overall pick next year and a couple other picks, and we'll trade. I believe that right now, if they tried to trade Rodgers, there'd be 3 or 4 teams who could even conceivably do it. I think if they wait until next year, half the league would try to bid for him.
Yes.
If he goes out and throws for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns, half the league will be trying to trade for Aaron Rodgers. Right now, you're lucky if 4 teams are not. It makes no sense if you're Green Bay.
I'm with you. Matt Verderam, by the way, does an excellent job of covering the NFL. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderam. Catch his work there at Fansided. All right, we'll wrap it up with these 2 questions. Let's start off with one, and they're both disasters. First of all, you just spoke about Carr. What do you think about that Raiders situation? Because I've looked at it like a complete clown show, and it's not because the owner uses a cap to cut his hair. That has nothing to do with it. I'm just saying this whole John Gruden mess, and now Mayock came out to defend getting rid of 3/5 of his of his offensive line and all this kind of stuff. You look at that team, where are they going? Do you see playoffs? Do you see big time success like they want there? Or do you think Raiders fans are going to continue to suffer?
I see the basement is what I see. They're the worst team in that division. It's not even close. The Chiefs are going to be 7 games better than them this year. The Chargers are probably at least 3 or 4 games better. Denver, you want to make the argument that Denver's quarterback situation is just bad enough that the Raiders will, somehow finish just 7-10 and be tied with Denver or something. Fine. I like Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr's a pretty good quarterback. I really do. But
I do too.
The line is a mess, as you pointed out. That's been the biggest strength of the team for a while. And I love Darren Waller. Okay. Who else scares you on that offense? Like Jacobs is fine. He's
Jacobs. Jacobs I like. But if the line takes a step back, look at Ezekiel Elliott. Look at Ezekiel Elliott last year. And maybe Ezekiel Elliott was hard too, that he didn't work hard at it. But either way, his line wasn't good and he suffered from it.
And then I think you look at Nelson Aguilar actually was really good for them last year. They lose him. With all due respect to Henry Ruggs, Henry Ruggs was terrible as a rookie. He's terrible. There's no reason to think all of a sudden he's going to go out and have 1,200 yards receiving. So, and defensively, they're abysmal. I just don't understand. Look, when you give Gruden $100 million, you give him full control of that organization. I don't care who the GM is, care who's above him. And I know it's a little thing, but like yesterday, right? Like the team president resigns abruptly. And the statement comes out and every word is capitalized. Like it's just details in that organization. Like who puts a statement out that looks like that? It looked like my daughter, who's 3.5 years old, wrote it. Like it just, there's no attention to it. I just feel like with the Raiders, you look at the other teams in that division. The Chargers rebuilt their offensive line this year. They should be better. They have Herbert. The Chiefs, who are already the preeminent favorite to win the Super Bowl, went out and rebuilt that entire offensive line. And then there's the Raiders, who are somehow in cap hell, and they haven't won a playoff game in 20 years. Like it's just gross mismanagement.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, one more scary situation, and that's Houston. I don't expect them to have much of a year, but what do you expect to happen in the Deshaun Watson? And I know it's hard to ask you this because we don't know where this court process is in, and we're trying to pay these women off, or is it going to go to trial, or what's going to happen? So we really, that part is unfair to you when I ask you this, but what do you hear from that situation? Because Deshaun Watson, what was it, yesterday, day before, like some kids, tweet like, hey, are you going to be, playing this year? Because you've been my fantasy quarterback since 2017. And Watson ended up liking it. So a lot of people are starting to write that, oh, well, maybe he's close to, agreeing with these women and everybody going away. What do you hear, my brother?
Not much on it in the sense that I don't think anybody's talking much about it. I will say this. My belief is there's a good chance he just starts out the summer when we get to camp on the commissioner's exempt list, which for anyone who isn't aware is just he's getting paid. He just can't participate. Right. I don't think the NFL is going to want that circus. I don't think the Texans would want that. Now, if things get taken care of on the legal side, as we all know, you don't have to be found guilty for the NFL to suspend you, to discipline you, however they see fit. And I personally would be surprised if Deshaun Watson plays this year. And not because I think he's guilty. I don't know. I don't know what the truth is. Yeah. But I just think in this scenario, the NFL is going to be ultra cautious. I mean, you have almost 24 women coming out with allegations against one of their biggest stars. The last thing, people forget this because it's a game, but it's a big multi-billion-dollar business. The last thing the NFL wants is for that situation to be front and center. And so I think there's a good chance the NFL is really cautious with this. I think he probably starts out on that exempt list, and does he come off of it before the end of the season? Maybe, maybe not. But as far as the Texans go, I think they've got to be the overwhelming favorite to be the worst team in the league. And I think, his situation certainly plays into that.
Matt, before I let you go, whoever acquires Deshaun, I'm thinking this. I got to sit down with him and say, you realize you're incredibly dumb, right? A guy at your stature is going and searching for IG women, whether you're getting massages or you're banging them. You do know you were setting yourself up for this from the get-go. Do you? I would have to have that conversation. I need to hear the mea culpa. I need to hear him say, yeah, no, I'm incredibly stupid for doing this, because you think about it. I don't care if you're a politician, if you're an entertainer, a musician, an athlete, if you're a famous person and you're doing that, you're setting yourself up for lawsuits left and right. And this is exactly what happened.
Should he get traded by Houston whenever in the next year or so, any team that acquires him has to be very prudent in how they do it. I mean, there's no two ways. Look, before all this came out, he was someone with an impeccable reputation. That obviously is gone. So regardless of how this plays out in the legal world, people will always remember this as something that happened, something that was a huge deal for an entire offseason. And so, look, yeah, no matter who the team is, if you acquire Deshaun Watson, that's going to be a big PR conversation. And you're right, that's going to be a big conversation with him to find out what's in his soul and in his heart and in his mind. Because if you're a team that's giving up a bevy of capital to acquire Deshaun Watson, you know that the player on the field is great. But is the off the field stuff so concerning that you can't go there? I think we're going to find that out as everything unfolds. We're going to see how all this plays out. I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows. We're just going to have to wait and see. But yes, obviously acquiring him now is a lot more difficult and problematic than it was 6 months ago.
Follow him on Twitter. He does excellent work for Fansided. He is Matt Verderam and always kind enough to give us some time. Matt, appreciate you as always, my man. Thank you. We'll catch up during the season sometime.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
You got it, baby. Be good. There you go. Excellent work as always, Matt Verderam, man. Love it from Fansided. That's right, Fansided. Larry Holder from The Athletic will join us in the next hour. And what we'll talk with Larry is we'll ask him, because X has been rumored that that's one of the teams that would, be happy to trade for X. But like I've said before, and I mentioned it, I still think you wait this season and you play hardball. And listen, if X wants to hold out, that's only going to hurt him. There's 12 guaranteed there. If he wants it, he's got to play for it. So you're getting paid this year. You already got paid. Okay. You got your signing bonus plus the 12 million. So you're getting around 14 right now this year with the signing bonus that they gave you, and that it's not that far off from what Byron gets, which is 16. I mean, we're going crazy over stuff that is just not worth it. You know what I mean? But for the Dolphins, I saw Dave Hyde's article today talking a little bit about, oh, well, you've got to sign him and all that. But whether it's Dave or myself or fans, you guys don't have to live with the consequences. They do. And if you rework a deal that's literally 1 year old, because while it was an extension in his final year of his rookie deal, it didn't start till the following year, which was last year. So now that it starts and you're only 1 year in, now you want to rework it. I've told you guys over and over, this opens up Pandora's box. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have to rework others when they want it. And that, my friends, does not work. All right. What do we got here on the chat board? I don't remember turning into any sports for the play-by-play guy, gal. I've always tuned in for the game. I've watched games with the volume off. Thanks, Joe Buck. Howard was good, but the comment killed him. Let's see. James Roman says, morning. Oh, and chat board. Tremolio says, I think the Chargers feel they can make a run, try to slow Mahomes. Chargers give Fins a 1 and a 3 for X now. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think they'll wait till next year. They got to create a little cap space just to sign everybody. You're going to take a cap hit also. I just don't see that, man. Matt was good. That was a good segment. Matt's always good, man. I've had Matt on for a few years now. He's a good dude, always willing to come on, and does a really good job for Fansided. You guys should follow him and read his stuff, man. Matthew Parlamento says, hit the like button. I love it, Matthew. Thank you, my friend. Rosendo, good morning, Big O. Money is what makes the world go round. X can play. X will play. He can't suffer a big loss. Okay. Big Ben got through it. I don't know what that means. What does that Big Ben got through it? I don't know. That one I don't know. I miss Howard and Dandy Don. Oh, yeah, definitely. Hank Goldberg and Henry Barrow did a great job, in my opinion, for a few years on. Oh, yeah, man. They did. You're right about that. You're right. You are right. Henry Barrow. Love Henry Barrow. That's a classic name right there. All right. Remember, reach out to us on email at bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. That's bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. You can also reach out to us on Twitter at Big O Show, and YouTube, of course. You got the chat board there. If you want to send in any questions or comments, we will try to read them and get to them. Larry Holder will join us at 12:30. Washington Nationals put a number on the Marlins yesterday, 18-1. Man, I felt bad for them. I just feel bad for that team. I just hope that the ownership group steps up next year and does a little bit more to support these young guys. It's just painful, man. There should have been a mercy rule yesterday. I mean, the Detweiler kid ends up giving up 8 earned runs in an inning. You just knew it was over there. When I tweeted out there should be a mercy rule, and this is like the 6th inning or something. It's I started David J. Neal, who used to cover the Panthers and works, he works for the Herald, and he does other things now. He covers local news and dining and dirty dining and stuff like that he drops all that kind of stuff. He tweets me back. He goes, man, I could have done that in the 1st inning, which he's right. He was right. He was right. But yeah, they needed a mercy rule. Rogers and Espino tonight at 7:05, which I think we'll all be watching the 9 o'clock game, which is the NBA Finals. And we got that going on tonight. And listen, when we talk about the finals right now, okay, and you look at what's going on with the finals, this is all about PG3. Tonight is about PG3. And if PG3 wants to kind of erase this memory, there's no better place to do it than in Milwaukee. There's no better place than Milwaukee for him, while they're going to have 65,000 people hanging out outside in the, what's it called, the Deer Zone, Deer Park, or whatever the hell that is. And then you're going to have a packed indoor arena with whatever, 20,000 in that arena. This is your moment, CP3. You have sucked, dude. You have waited your whole career to get to this point, and you're going to get to this point, and you're not going to sell out. Dwayne Wade, and I know he was much younger, but in Game 3 against Dallas said, I'm not going down like this, and turned the team around. They won it in 6. And thank you, Dwayne, because I was champagne-filled in the locker room covering that, so it was fun. But still, my point is, these are the moments that make what you are as an athlete. And I got to tell you something. I think I have figured out what's going on with CP3. I do. I know exactly what's going on with CP3. Are you ready for this? Jake from State Farm is in the building every time. And since something always goes wrong when Jake from State Farm shows up, there you go. That's what's going on. See, Jake probably didn't go to the first game, but then after that, he started showing up, and then his play declined. And so now you see him bobbling the ball and turning it over left and right and sure enough, it must be. That's the thing. These NBA finals are a State Farm commercial, so CP3 can't win. He's done. It's over. And if you're a Suns fan, you need to find Jake from State Farm and kick his ass and get him out of the building. And little do you know, the Bucks paid for Jake from State Farm to be there tonight. You might not see him. He might be hiding somewhere, but just his presence alone. That's all. CP3 might be better off having his son play point. Did you see him dunk in that commercial? Even with Jake from State Farm there. Meanwhile, what happens to CP3? He turns into a basketball. I mean, this is what's going on right now. Jake from State Farm is screwing CP3 over. He knows it. I mean, he says it in the commercials, like, oh, this has got to be a commercial. Of course, you're about to turn into a cardboard. You're about to turn into a basketball. The fake CP3 comes in and is going to break everything for you. Your gym, your mirrors, you name it, your car, windows. Maybe Ribeiro can, do the Carlton and dribbling, I don't know. Maybe the Suns are better off having the fake Chris Paul and CP3 Sun. That way you start Ribeiro, you bring the Sun off the bench, and maybe the Suns have a shot to win tonight. But I'm telling you, that's what's going on. It's Jake from State Farm. He is screwing CP3 over. So after all this time, you've made all this money from State Farm, and look, they're costing you the title now. He's not in good hands. That's all I can tell you. CP3's not in good hands. That's what's going on. All right, remember, you can reach out to us, Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. That's Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. Twitter, Big O Show. Follow us there, and please smash the hell out of that like button. We got plenty of people watching. Smash that like button. It is so important for you to smash that like button. Let's see what we got going on here just in case. Want to make sure we're following every development in the radio show. Thank you. So Ian O'Reilly, thank you, sir. Coming in with a little Cash App. Appreciate it. I think I mentioned that already, but I wanted to make sure that I mentioned it. So thank you, Ian. Appreciate you. And remember, of course, Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show. Many ways to support us out there. Appreciate all of you for tuning in every single day. Big O, it amazes me that Herbert and Tua comparison. Did Tua have the same talent like receivers? I mean, Vernon, we go over this argument all the time. He wasn't healthy all offseason working on football. The offense wasn't designed for him. He wasn't the starter. He was the backup. Justin had every advantage over him and way better receiving core, not even close. The only thing Miami has that might be the edge might be a tight end. That's it. And outside of that, their receiving core was way better than Miami's. But this year, there are no excuses. So I expect Tua, and Tua's healthy now. Tua got to play football all offseason. So I'm not worried about it, man. I'm not worried about that. I didn't overreact to any of that stuff. I'm not wishing anything bad on Herbert, but you can play well one year, and then the next year, look at Baker Mayfield, played well his rookie year, and then they figured him out, and then they forced him to counter, and he was able to counter in year 3, but he struggled in year 2. So that could happen also to Herbert. He could struggle in year 2. So we'll see. Let's allow this to play out first before we overreact. Okay. Keely Chow says, I don't care about the NBA Finals. There's too much Chicago in me to root for the Bucks. Go Bulls. There you go, Keely. Love the passion. Not a Chicago fan, but I love the passion. That's fantastic. All right, we got hour number 2 coming up. Remember, hour number 2, I got a bunch of things that I want to talk about. I want to talk about Michael Irving's comments here in hour number 2. There's an NFL player that did something incredibly classy that we got to talk about, and I've become a fan of his. I got to say, I gotta give that fan some love. Another player did something really impressive, but yet it may not impress me enough, and I'll tell you why. We've got a former Dolphin running his mouth, and I don't know if his team can cash the checks that he's supposedly writing out there. What else do we have? We've got an article that I want to talk about, overpaid, underpaid. I got some music news that I want to get to. There's some negative NFL news that happened today that's kind of sad. We'll get into it. And then we have entertainment coming, folks. I'll tell you what that is, too, in hour number 2. It's a beautiful thing. We might go into hour number 3 when it's all said and done. So I appreciate all of you out there keeping it locked. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back in about, about 2 minutes.
Sports fans love a place with great food, cold drinks, and TVs everywhere. That's why sports fans love Sports Grill and their 7 amazing locations. Check out the Bird Road location at 11481 Southwest 40th Street in the back corner of the West Bird Shopping Center. Sports Grill is also now offering some great employment opportunities. All kinds of positions are now available, from kitchen to hosting. Call for more information at 305-485-8845. From wraps to salads to amazingly delicious specialty dishes, Sports Grill is the home to the legendary special grilled wings. Since 1987, Sports Grill, good food, good drink, and good friends.
This is the Big O Show.
Starting in August, longtime Miami Heat insider Ira Winderman joins the Big O Radio Show. Ira will give insight twice a week on your favorite NBA team. Heat fans get the information you crave from one of the best in the business. From weekly appearances to breaking news, join Ira Winderman exclusively on the Big O Show. Found on
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Our numero dos right here on the program. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to smash the hell out of the like button. That is one of the most important things you will do for us every single day. Thank you, thank you, thank you, all of you out there, as always. Let's see. Big O versus Pete Cap for life. What the hell is that? I don't know what that means. Cap for life. Big O will school all these dudes. Huh? I don't know what we're talking about. I don't know what you guys got going on there on the chat board. Oh, I'm 42 years old. I'm a native Floridian from Stewart. Support all the 305 teams except for baseball. I wish baseball left Miami and rebuild the Orange Bowl. Miami won't invest in the OB. John, the OB's gone, bro. You got to let that go already. It's done. It's over. Okay? It's over. Ebbets Field is over, bro. That's just the way it is, man. Fields are gone, man. It's just the sombrero's gone. We miss it, but the sombrero's gone. Seeing games there, seeing MLS games there, seeing concerts at the sombrero. It's gone, bro. The Orange Bowl's gone. We can't do anything about it. The Astrodome, they tore it down, bro. It's over. It just happens. All right. Miami is Miami, and maybe they could have resurrected it or refurbished it to the point that they would have made it nice and all that, or maybe they couldn't because it was too old, and who knows, man. And nowadays, and maybe there was so much lost space in there that they could not gain it back if they wanted to. And today's modern stadiums, they are so much more bigger and more comfortable, and they've got all kinds of places to put offices and fans and everything else that goes on. So it's a different monster now, man. We just gotta, unfortunately, live with it. Lambeau is the only one that's been able to kind of do it. Look, Chicago, Soldier Field is gone, bro. They're going to move out. They're going to the suburbs in Chicago. That's the inevitable, that the spaceship is going down. A lot of people aren't even happy with the way they redid Soldier Field and all that kind of stuff. And yet they're all dying to get out of their old stadiums. Why? Because they can't maximize it, man. And that's the difference. So you got to let it go, man. It sucks, but you got to let it go. It's kind of like these people that are hanging on and they think that life doesn't change, and life changes, man. You're going to have to learn to use email, and you're going to have to learn to use the internet, and you're going to have to learn that crypto is going to be a part of your life from here on out, because digital currency is the future. That's what's more fluid. That's also what's more healthy too, because dollar bills, y'all, are pretty disgusting. You know what I'm saying? Ian from Brooklyn, thank you, sir, with a little Cash App love. I see it there. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate you. So, you got to let it go, man. It is what it is. And I don't want baseball to go. I just want good baseball owners. That's all, my friend. That's what we need, John. We got a good football owner. He spends and he does everything you need to do. He just couldn't figure out the right people to run it. Now he has it. You know what I mean? So did I want Jorge Mas to buy the baseball team? Hells to the yeah, I wanted him to buy the baseball team. But unfortunately, it went to Sherman and Jeter, and now I wish them the best, but they've got to go out and spend some money. It's not a matter of there's no bad luck here. It's it's like some people say, well, they put the Dolphins in the new stadium, and the new stadium is over an Indian ground and all this. You put the Marlins won 2 titles there. So no, there's no bad luck here whatsoever. It's bad owners. Okay? Bad owners. Viner and company for the Panthers were not good owners. Viola and Sifu, they're great freaking owners. Now, are owners perfect? No. Are you perfect? No. Am I perfect? Not even close. We're all going to screw up, man. So Ross screwed up for several years until he figured it out. Okay? What's it called? Viola and Sifu, they hung on to that bum-ass GM that they inherited too long. Because, he did great in Chicago, but he sucked here. And so they bring in the new GM, and he turns things around, and they're a better team. Jorge Mas, great owner, man. He's going to make Inter Miami special. Problem is that he hired a GM that also did a good job, had a good track record, but he was terrible here. And he buried that organization. They're buried for 2 years. Buried. It's going to be really tough to get out of this hole. They will end up being bad again this year, and they'll be bad next year. Maybe 2 years from now, they get away from all the cap restraints. They get rid of Pizarro, and they get rid of some of these other players. Then they can, open up the money and go get more guys. But these are mistakes that owners make. It doesn't mean that all of them are bad. You find out over time if they're bad because they continually be bad. But eventually they'll figure things out if they're good owners. Jorge Mas will figure it out, man. Sifu and Viola have figured it out because clearly this GM has way better feel for what needs to be done in today's NHL than, Talon, who was just absolutely terrible here. And then in baseball, I'm not going to, I told you yesterday, I'm not blaming Kim Ng for anything. Somebody said, what do you think about Kim Ng? She hasn't been on the job long enough, and she doesn't have a checkbook. And in baseball, if you don't have a checkbook, it's going to be hard to compete, dude. It just is. So if you're just, listen, I don't know what the plan for the Marlins is. We're going to find out here in this next offseason and the next 2 offseasons, something has to give. And if it doesn't, then you got the wrong ownership group in place. That's all. Because if you're just hoping to just continually draft and develop, and then one magical year, all your young guys have career seasons like Kansas City did, and you got to the finals, to the World Series, and you win it, that's so hard to do. And in the end, they didn't keep that team together. Which is, it's kind of like in 97 and made us sick to our stomachs. So wait a minute, Wayne, you're gonna build this monster up, and now you're telling us you're gonna destroy it? It just takes your soul right out of you, dude. So it's not about the stadiums, it's about the owners. Okay. And I love the Orange Bowl too. I grew up with the Orange Bowl, my brother. Okay. I saw Marino and I saw Greasy and company in the 70s. I saw Marino and company. I've done everything there. I've seen all kinds of great concerts there. I saw Prince there. I saw Bruce Springsteen there. I saw the Rock Super Bowl there. I mean, there are so many concerts that I've gone to in that place. I love the Orange Bowl, man. But everything gets outdated, unfortunately. And it was outdated. And the amount of money it would have taken to actually make that a modern-like stadium, it probably wasn't worth it at that point. So this is what they had to do, unfortunately. But I would never want the baseball team to leave because we're not the problem here. The ownership has always been the problem. When you give us good baseball, when you actually commit, we commit. But if you don't commit, we're not going to commit. And that's been the problem with baseball. They have no owners that have truly committed to winning year in and year out. The Heat commit to win year in and year out. The Dolphins, they may not have done it for 20 years now, but they were always committed to winning because they always spent like they were trying to win. Because you're not trying to buy Parcells and Saban and Jimmy Johnson if you're not trying to win, right? If you're trying to find what you think is the best person available at that moment, which was Jimmy, which was Nick Saban, which was Parcells at that time, whether it worked out or it didn't, that means you're spending the kind of money that you want to win. You need a bubble, we got it. You need a practice facility, you got it. You need this player, you need that player, you got it. So show us that you're committed to winning. And that's what you get from the Marlins 18-1. And this season so far in 3 years now into a rebuild that's gone nowhere, actually. Really, let's be honest. They've loaded up on pitching, but overall the results are not there yet. And 3 years in, you'd like to see better results. How long is this rebuild going to take? 7, 8, 9 years? And, Marlins fans, how much more patience do you want them to have? It's been so bad that what you've done is just killed generations. That's the problem with the Marlins. They've killed an entire generation of baseball fans because they won in 2003. Since then, they've been an absolute joke. So we're talking 18 years now. That's a generation that's come and gone, that an entire generation that grew up with the Marlins meaning absolutely nothing. Our problem is ownership commitment. That's our problem. And right now, the only team that shows a lack of ownership commitment is the Marlins. Inter Miami commits, NHL commits, NBA commits, NFL commits. The one sport that has not committed yet in this town is the Marlins. And yet we committed too. We gave them a stadium. And what? So now what do we do with that stadium if you want them to leave? I mean, come on, man. They're not going anywhere. They've got a long-ass lease. So I've wasted enough time on the Marlins. All right. Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. Remember, follow us on Twitter at Big O Show. The Twitter feed is very important because you'll find about upcoming guests. Maybe maybe you didn't listen to the show. You'll see it there. You should subscribe and you'll get the alert when it's all said and done. But sometimes some of the segments in there, we post them on there, sometimes on Twitter. We tell you about events. Tomorrow, we will be at Caneswear, 2511 South University Drive in Davie. So for tomorrow, for the first time ever, we will be hitting the road on this podcast here. Well, not the first time ever. The first time since we restarted this a month ago, we are hitting the road now to go do a show, okay? So we will be out at Caneswear tomorrow in Davie, starting off at 11 a.m., 2511 South University Drive in Davie. So come on out and join us, man. Appreciate it. Big O, my wife played on the UM marching band one time. They were on the field pregame, and she and her friends got into a fight with the WIOD Soundhound in 1980. Tremendous. Willie says, damn right, we're imperfect. Hell yeah. I don't think Bitcoin will be the general currency. Bitcoin will always be a store value is what it's going to be. It's going to be your savings. You should never use Bitcoin as currency. Okay? You're going to use other things like Litecoin. You're going to use Crow. And then maybe there's some other type of coins that can be used in that sense. But whether it's Polygon or anything else can be used more as currency than anything else. Bitcoin is not one that once you invest in Bitcoin, you let it sit there, dude, and you don't ever touch it. You only touch it if you have a family emergency, which of course, yeah, or you want to do something that you need to invest for your kids or something down the line. And it's accrued in value and now you've got more. And so now you can use it to whatever, your kid graduates and you want to buy him a car or whatever. I don't know, but that you should not use Bitcoin unless it's, something special. If not, just let it sit there and gain value. And right now, since it's gone down, It's a great time to get in, man, because when it does bounce back, not a financial advisor, I'm just saying. Let's see, what else do we have here that I want to talk about? I got a bunch of things that I want to talk about today on the show, man. Did you see the Olympics now? They already came out and said that it still could be canceled. Now, I'm not looking at the news at this second because I don't know if it has been canceled yet, but they had 71 different athletes test positive for COVID. 71. Oh, well, I'm sorry, 71 in the athletic village. Not all were athletes, but you have several athletes that have already tested. And, they're not going to have spectators, and they've got a COVID outbreak there as it is. That Delta variant, which is also affecting, I think, crypto and the stock market too. All that stuff that, is arising because we have, look, I can't speak for other countries. Okay, which I know that there are those in other countries because I see it in England that you have people that are politicizing the vaccine, which is just, again, I don't get it at all, whatever. 99.8% of the people dying or in hospitals are people that are not vaccinated. Pretty simple. You know what I mean? So they've got this threat of maybe even still canceling the games. Toyota drops them as a sponsor. So, that's all of a sudden now that news when Toyota broke yesterday with that news, I didn't get to it on the show yesterday. It was one of the stories that I left off, and we're talking about it now because we have other things that are like it's like a domino effect now. So Toyota goes out. I'm wondering if the Olympic Committee now is hearing about other sponsors saying, yeah, no, this is not good for me. I don't want to be a part of this where there's a COVID outbreak and we're encouraging people to be together and we're putting people at risk. No, I'm not for that. And so you have other sponsors now because of the PR hit. They want to drop out of this. That's why Toyota dropped out. They don't want to be a part of this. Okay. Last time I checked, this is, this is an event that I get it that they're spending billions and they could lose a bunch of money, but how many more people are we going to keep killing? You know what I mean? That's kind of what we're doing. People spewing misinformation, all you're doing is killing more people because the more people that have misinformation, they think, oh, there's magnets in the thing. Oh, they're trying to control us. All this, all that. And they come up with all these lame excuses and there's no proof of anything. Nothing. Zero. It's amazing how we got some people in this world that want to make claims and have zero proof for anything. Just like the rigged election. Zero proof. Nothing ever happened. But no, we'll continue to make it up and we'll have people that are foolish enough to believe it. It's amazing. It really is. So we got to get to a point where everybody gets vaccinated so we can all get back to normal because the people that are unvaccinated are effing everything up now because they're the ones that are spreading it. They're the ones that end up in hospitals. They're the ones that are dying now, not the people that are vaccinated. I just told you 99.8. That's crazy, dude. That means you're guaranteed practically that if you don't have a vaccine, you got an enormous amount of a risk of ending up in the hospital or dying. That's what scared the crap out of me. That's why I got it. And listen, I was hesitant about the vaccine early because I wanted a couple million people first to take it. And then I would go, I wanted to get it, but I wanted to wait for a couple guinea pigs first. Of course, we've had hundreds of millions of guinea pigs all over the world now. Go get it, man. So we can get back to normal. Did you see the Olympics, by the way, if they do end up having it? They have cardboard beds. Yeah. So they've got a mattress and a cardboard bed and all that stuff. So a lot of people are thinking that this is for no sex. So an Israeli gymnast got on his, I think, IG or Twitter, I forgot which one it was, and he started bouncing up and down on the bed. Apparently, it is super sturdy, so you can have sex. So we want to tell the Olympic athletes out there that you can have sex in those beds. The other thing is, you know what's so silly about that? Do you really need a bed to have sex? Seriously. Come on. So You did it every time in a bed, right? Come on. Come on. You know, you're creative. You can have sex. That's not, there are chairs, there are desks, there are walls, there's floor, there's whatever, man. When you want to do it, you're going to do it, bro. You know what I'm saying? Come on. It's good to be the king. Come on. You know you want to do it. Big O, I lost my brother and one of my sisters to the variant COVID virus last week. They both lived in the same house and wasn't vaccinated. So please, to anyone out there, get vaccinated. Super V, I know I by the way, first of all, rest in peace for your family. And I'm sorry to hear that news because it's just terrible. And this is what we're getting now all the time now. It's, oh, I didn't get vaccinated and my daughter is hanging on to life now. And, you saw that story with the mom and her 13-year-old daughter, and they weren't vaccinated. And she's 13 and she's hanging on for dear life because now that Delta variant is knocking out younger people now. Remember how the older people were at risk, but most of the older people got smart and they got the vaccine. So younger people now that, they're the ones that are getting affected by this. And so they're seeing younger and younger people headed to the hospital. Please get the vaccine. Please get the vaccine so we all can get our lives back. We did it for polio. They do it for the flu every season. People have been taking vaccines for all kinds of things forever. That's nothing new. Kids were getting vaccines for measles. I don't even know if they still do it, but we all had to have a measles shot when we were kids. I don't know if it still goes on because we pretty much eradicated measles, but why do you think we do that? So we don't have an outbreak. What do we have now? An outbreak. And it's going to continue if we continue with the people that don't have it, man. So it's just crazy stories from the Olympics, from cardboard beds to sponsors dropping out to it could be canceled. Let me see if there's anything here. I don't see anything yet so far on that. I don't know if it will happen, but man, it is crazy stuff. All right, let's get into a little Michael Irving talk. And I thought Michael, and it kind of goes, with this conversation here that we just had. Michael went and tore up the Cowboys. I found it kind of funny because Michael Irvin said, if you're unvaccinated, that means you don't want to win badly enough. And Dallas, by the way, is at nearly 70%. Nearly 70% are unvaccinated. And so the first of all, the fact that he thinks the Cowboys, and Michael does this every year. He's rooting on his Cowboys and talking a lot of crap about his Cowboys and all. Cowboys aren't going to win anything. They don't have the kind of defense to win the Super Bowl when it's all said and done. Come on, man. Just whatever. But I did find it funny how he was, picking on the unvaccinated. And in a way, I got to be honest. And the more people you have that are unvaccinated, the more risk your team is going to be at losing players. At least if you're vaccinated, you got a shot at fighting it off. And worst case scenario, if you get it, it's not going to do major damage to you, at least. You know what I mean? That's the blessing in all of this. So I don't know how you want to look at this, but I will say this, that as a sports fan, God, I hope my Dolphins are close to 100% vaccinated because I want them to have a great year. Listen, injuries are bad enough. Look what happened to Cam Akers today. He tore his Achilles tendon, starting running back for the Rams. This is devastating for them now. Now they've got to count on the Henderson kid. They've got another guy from Maryland. What's his name? Jake Funk. That's his name. A 7th round pick out of Maryland. Jake Funk. I had to look at my notes. I tried to memorize it, but Jake Funk is the other guy that now you got to count on that. And injuries are brutal enough as it is in this league. And it's hard it's hard enough to deal with that. But if you could avoid missing games or missing an important game because you didn't get vaccinated, that could be stopped. We can prevent a lot of deaths. Just vaccinate. You know what I mean? It's pretty common sense, but I'm with Michael on this one. I mean, if I want to compete, I want to make sure everybody's vaccinated so we all have a chance. Apparently, it's going to be two worlds of difference between the guys that are vaccinated and unvaccinated in once they walk into the buildings. They won't be able to do some of the things that the other guys can do while they're vaccinated. It's crazy, man. Take it serious. Take this thing serious. Some people try to play God. He alone only knows your days. Yeah, exactly. But you can speed it up too, man. So Yahweh, that's a bunch of crap. Go play on the highway. Is that God or is that you doing something stupid? Huh? Go ride a motorcycle without a helmet. Is that God or you playing stupid? Which one is it, dude? Right? You make choices, bro. Choices that put you at more risk. It has nothing to do with the dude on top. He's got plenty of things to do. He's not worried about what 10 billion people decide to do. So, sometimes we take that part a little too serious and too extreme. Okay? You make your own choices, dude. Why don't you keep smoking 3 packs of cigarettes? That's not the dude above. That's you. Right? Right? You want to keep going through the drive-thru every day? Eating 10 fast food meals? That's you, not the dude above. So when you weigh 4,000 pounds and you die from diabetes, that's not the dude above. That's you that decided to eat at drive-thrus every day, all day. Okay? So please, let's get to a little common sense in this freaking world. All right, let's go. Larry Holder, baby. We are going to talk a little Saints, a little NFL. You can follow my man Larry on Twitter at Larry Holder and catch his exceptional work there at The Athletic. Larry, this is our first time doing it on video, my brother. How you doing?
I know. I feel all high tech. I mean, it's kind of a weird world, my friend, but good to see you as opposed to just talking to you on the phone where I'm just like roaming around New Orleans doing something. You had to pin me at home. I mean, I could have been in the quarter doing this, Well,
you could do it. Yeah, you could do it with your phone in the quarter, and you can like treat us to the views in the quarter, bro. That would have been cool, man. Plus,
in the morning on like a Tuesday, if you're running into someone in the quarter, it's probably not good unless they're happen to have just business down there. Usually they're probably just somebody who's stumbling eternally in life down there.
Oh, brother, listen, I am well aware of that because every year that I go to the Senior Bowl, on the Friday of that week, I stay in New Orleans. I stay there in Bourbon Street and hang out Friday night, have a good night. Then Saturday, I take off in the morning back to Florida. And so I wake up in the morning to go to breakfast there in the quarter. And yeah, you see them stumbling around still at that time. And the fresh smell of everything that happened the night before is all on the streets too. That's the other thing.
Look, they've done a better job at least cleaning it up. But how about when you're in the process of it?
Yes.
Here's the thing, don't go down there around like 5 o'clock because you're not drunk. The smell starts getting there, and then you're just, what am I doing here? I mean, you gotta be kind of over the edge, liquored up, to get over the smell. You don't want to go when you're sober or coming down off of a hangover, and then you smell it, and then you contribute to the mess down there.
I'm with you there. Thank the Lord, I've never contributed to the mess there. I've just watched the mess and watched the entertainment from a distance with my cigar and my grenade in hand or hurricane, one of the two. Always enjoying one of those when I'm down there. All right, Larry, let's get into a little Saints. First of all, dude, how is life without Breeze? Because I remember when Marino retired and, I covered that 62-7 game in Jacksonville, and then we didn't have any more Marino for many years, and it's like a withdrawal thing. It's almost like you feel like a druggie because you lose that drug that you constantly had that brought you incredible entertainment and made your life easy too, right? Because having Drew Brees makes your life easy, having a great player around. You know what I'm saying? So how's life post Brees now?
It's going to be curious. I mean, look, we're going to start up training camp practices in about 8 or 9 days, and everyone's focus will be on the quarterback position. The last time we had any focus, real major focus on the quarterback position was 2006, Breeze's first training camp when he was coming off of the shoulder surgery, first year in New Orleans. And now it is everyone's going to be watching Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. And, you and me have talked about this, I know, in the recent past, just about who I think is going to be the guy. I think Jameis Winston will win the job. I'm not saying it's his right now, but I assume Jameis Winston will win the job. And for the Saints, in my opinion, if Jameis Winston doesn't win the job, then they're in trouble, because that means Jameis wasn't good enough to win the job. And you're leaning on Taysom Hill, who I personally don't trust as their full-time starting quarterback. You can get away with it for 4 games. Can't get away with it for 16 or 17, or if you want to think they're going to make the playoffs. But that is the topic. And now Drew Brees is it's funny. You don't want to say he's kind of just a memory because he's so beloved down here. But I think so many people have been kind of waiting to see what's next for so many years now and now that we're here, I think people are kind of on the edge of their seats to see how this team moves on without Drew Brees.
So let me ask you, when we look at, because I read a report where somebody was saying that Taysom Hill has the inside track to be the starter. And I'm like, wow, they haven't even started training camp for the preseason. And I'm like you, I don't trust Taysom Hill to be an everyday star. I still look at him like a gimmick quarterback that you play off of your starter in spot plays. Winston is the guy to me that looks like an everyday player. But again, it's up to Jameis to kind of take that step forward. So what about those crazy reports, and what does Jameis have to do in your eyes to kind of win that job?
I still think it is. I don't know if there's an inside track. But I do feel like that Jameis Winston is your prototypical quarterback that would fit a Sean Payton offense. And like you said, it's up to Jameis because when you look at Taysom Hill and his resume, sure, they went 3-1 with him as a starter. But when you look at how he played last year, he went up against the Falcons twice, who their pass defense was ranked 31st in the league, and he was just okay. So if he was bad against them, then he was really in trouble. Then they had to dummy down the offense so much because if you remember when they played Denver, Drew Lock got COVID and wiped out the whole quarterback room, and they had to have a practice squad receiver play quarterback. So the Saints just said, hey, we're going to run it. We're not going to take any risks, anything fluky. Would you do that if you had total confidence in your quarterback? Would you dummy down the offense if even you had a middle-tier NFL quarterback? No, you would not do that. And then in his last start –
And by the way, you guys have an excellent defense too, so you can rely on being conservative. Because hell, I lived with Wanstead. It's punt or field goal. We're fine. Our defense will carry us. No, but whatever.
Right, exactly. And then when you look at Taysom's final start against the Eagles, he struggled mightily in the first half, and then in the second half he improved because all 3 of their starting cornerbacks somehow got injured. It was crazy to see, and the Eagles still ended up winning. And that was Jalen Hurts' first start at quarterback against the Eagles. So that was a bad loss. And so, to me, it comes with Taysom. It's getting rid of the football quickly, this, that, and the other. So to me, I just don't see him as that. I see him as a really good complement because he does have more of an ability to throw the football than maybe a couple of years ago when you see Taysom, all right, you figure he's going to run no matter what. And that still might be the case, but there is a threat there. But for me, look, Jameis Winston, he should win the job, and he is a better quarterback than Taysom Hill. And that's why I always say if he doesn't win the job, then the Saints are in trouble. And to me, this is a 1-year tryout for whoever's the quarterback, because both are under a 1-year contract. If this thing blows up, I wouldn't be stunned if Sean Payton called Pete Carroll and tried to trade for Russell Wilson. That's if I were him, that's what I would do next to try to pry him away if he's unhappy up in Seattle again. But yeah, this is a 1-year deal no matter who the quarterback is.
So, and Larry, the other thing that's kind of screwy for Peyton is he has to tread lightly here, and he has to be very careful because, as you know, being a beat guy, and I've been in the locker room for many years, you can't fool these guys in the locker room. So you can't make a political pick in this quarterback thing. You've got to pick the guy that plays the best, because you'll lose that locker room if you're not playing the guy that gives them the best chance to win. So this decision, you've got to get it right.
Yeah, and I don't think Sean Payton would play it. And he's going to play the best guy because he wants to win football games. I mean, he gets locker room culture and all of that, and had to deal with some culture issues brought up by Drew Brees last offseason, and that was something they had to navigate, and they did. It just on the field, Drew Brees just wasn't the same guy as we'd seen throughout much of his career. But no, he's definitely going to play. Whoever wins the job wins the job. It's not this, I'm so enamored with Taysom Hill. I think people were wondering last year, why play Taysom Hill over Jameis Winston? Because Sean Payton wanted to see Taysom Hill under the lights. I mean, that's what it is. And he owed it to him because Taysom Hill had done everything that they've asked. And they probably looked at the schedule and said, all right, we could manage this schedule. 2 games against the Falcons, 1 against Denver, 1 against Philadelphia. You can scheme out wins there. So I think he felt like he wanted to see what Taysom had. And look, here's the thing too, reports out there and people I've talked to in the draft, they were very enamored with Trey Lance. They were enamored with Mac Jones. So if they had any type of ability to draft those guys, they would have. So there is a thing where they need to see it to believe it out of either one of these guys.
All right. And so, Larry, the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is we got a cornerback down here for the Miami Dolphins that isn't very happy and wants to get more money because of the Byron Jones deal, and that's Xavier Howard. One of the teams that's been mentioned is the New Orleans Saints. Now, the one thing that I know the Drew Brees contract isn't on the books, but I know that they have to pay their other corner in Lattimore. So do you feel that there's some truth to all that? Do the Saints would they be willing to give up the picks that you need in order to acquire him? And can they manage it cap wise, because they've also got to pay their corner? And here's the other thing that I want to run by you. We have a corner that's pissed off because the other corner got paid in free agency, because as you know, Larry, in free agency, you overpay. So now what happens if you go over there and then X gets paid so much more than Lattimore? Does that create a problem now between those two guys? Because Lattimore's been there paying his dues, waiting for his turn. So walk us through the cap issues and the reality of their interest in X.
They're definitely interested in Howard. I don't think there's any question about that, because even Lattimore being there, they have a hole at the other side because they had to let Janoris Jenkins, they had to release him, and he was scooped up quickly by Tennessee because they had so many cap issues. They had to cut a lot of the middle tier of their roster. So if you're bringing in Howard, you're certainly going to pay him. And I'm thinking if you get someone like that, maybe you let Lattimore walk. I mean, that might be an issue that they might do because here after this year. And look, Lattimore, he's up and down. Look, he can play great. It's like he plays up to and down to the level of the competition he's facing. He can have great games, and sometimes he could kind of drift away, and you're thinking, what's happening with him? And look, he's run into some legal issues, was arrested during this offseason. He's going to probably be suspended for a few games at the beginning of the season. That's my assumption. Okay. And so the Saints, even without that, they would still be looking for another cornerback. So I think they could make the money work. They always do. However they do it, the Mickey Loomis algebraic equation he's got working, hey, they always try to make it work. And if they love this player, they'll make it work. But would they be willing to give up the assets? I think they would. But also, I do think, though, that there's a dynamic of, do you pay both or do you let Lattimore walk? I think that's something that the Saints would have to really evaluate if they went after someone of the caliber of Xavier Howard.
And they don't have to pay Lattimore now, right? They can let him play out the contract and still tag him if they felt like it at the end of the year, correct?
Right. He's in the final year 5 of his rookie contract. But like Ryan Ramczyk got a contract extension, and he was their second first-round pick and not Lattimore. So I think they could definitely just let him play it out. And if they wanted to tag him, they could. If they wanted to let him walk, they could. And maybe, because they were trying to trade up to go get Patrick Surtain or J.C. Horn, that no team was willing to do that. So they're on the market. And there's no real good one left on the market in free agency at this point. So trading is the route they would go. How much would they be willing to give up? I mean, I think that depends on the caliber of the player. But as we know, they'd have to give up a ton to go get Howard.
Yeah, I think you hit on it now. Now my brain is going. And I think the switcheroo thing that you brought up is what makes sense because of the baggage, the issues off the field, the inconsistencies at time. X just wants to get paid. He's a monster. He can play. So I could see them grabbing X and then drafting another guy that can be opposite of X. And then you have the safety cheat over and help him and leave X on the island because that's what Miami does. They leave him on the island because that's the kind of player he is. He's a Revis-type player. When we had Surtain and Madison down here, that's how they played loosey-goosey with their defense because they could leave Madison and Surtain all by themselves out there on the islands. So, yeah, I think you hit on it, Larry. I think it's more if this ever happens, it'll and by the way, I'm with you. I don't think X gets moved now in the next month or two, I think he gets moved next year because I think they want to get one more year of great productivity out of him. The value goes up. He's 2 years removed from domestic issues. He's 2 years removed from a knee injury or surgery, that is. And then also they take a much lesser cap hit next year than they do this year. So I think the Dolphins, it behooves them to wait to the end of the year. Plus, they know at the end of the year, Larry, where everybody finished and where their picks are going to be in the draft at that point in time. Chris has been kind of shrewd in his dealings. I think he'll continue to do the same thing here.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. We talk about next offseason, but the Saints have a desperate need right now at corner. So maybe they're willing to overpay. I don't know because they feel like it. Because if you look at who they have on the other side, it's Patrick Robinson, who they did not ever want to be an outside corner, bringing him back to the fold. They wanted to be a nickel corner, gets banged up, and he never really panned out there. And they drafted Paulson Adebo, third-round pick from Stanford. Are you ready to just throw him in there? And look, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he's their nickel guy, and he's been a really good player. So that's not the concern. It's the outside spot. So they're in a heap. And, I'm sure they're making calls to teams who have veteran corners. But it's something that the Saints need to make a move now if they don't want to have a gaping hole in their defense. And so if they want to wait and do the switcheroo later, sure. But I'm sure they'd want to get a deal done now and get them in there and maybe have Lattimore walk after the season. I don't know if that's, we're just kind of talking hypotheticals here. Maybe that's what they're looking at here. But still, they need a corner now, which is why if Howard's on the market, they're going to make the call and they're going to try to work a deal.
Larry, before I let you go, how important has Jeff Ireland been to the Saints the last couple of years? Because it's, the way I look at it down here, Rick Spielman had a terrible time down here. He had a battle of power with Wanstead and all that stuff, and he was young. And he made a share of mistakes here along with Wanstead. But then he goes to Minnesota, and he's done a fabulous job. Outside of figuring out the quarterback, he's done a fabulous job of building that team on both sides of the ball. If he gets that elite quarterback, obviously he would end up winning a title. But he's done a really good job overall. You can't complain about his job over there in Minnesota. And then Jeff Ireland obviously made a ton of mistakes down here, and then also involved in a power struggle and political mess in between inside that building. He goes to New Orleans. And New Orleans is, they were already a good franchise, but it seems like he's added to them. So talk to me a little bit about the impact that Jeff Ireland's made, because it almost seems like it's two guys that kind of got their feet wet here and didn't have the experience and gained that experience and then learned from it and got better in other places.
Jeff Ireland has been critical to the Saints' success. There is no question about that at all. It starts with the 2017 draft class. Just look at the players that he was head of the college scouting and had his finger on all of this, obviously. They draft Marshawn Lattimore, Ryan Ramczyk, Marcus Williams, Alvin Kamara, Alex Anzalone, who he's gone now, but he was a solid player in the Saints, and Trey Hendrickson, who just got a huge deal to go to the Bengals and had a breakout year last year. And Al-Qadim Muhammad, who, even though he didn't pan out in New Orleans, is still playing in the league and a viable player in the NFL. That's his draft class, and that propelled the Saints for the last 4+ years. Without that, they're sunk. They've also had a couple of other good players. You could question the Marcus Davenport pick, but Eric McCoy's been a good player. Like C.J. Gardner-Johnson, already mentioned him earlier, from Florida. A big-time piece to their defense, huge future. They use him all over the field. So without Jeff Ireland, they might not be anywhere near where they are because they were able to hit on a lot of draft picks in-house, get this thing right. And, it wouldn't shock me if Jeff Ireland is eventually gone and a GM somewhere else because he's been that good and that critical to the Saints. And I know the Saints would fight to keep him because they don't want him leaving.
Wow. So that's a painful blow to Dolphin fans down here hearing that stuff. One more thing. Realistically, okay, because you talked about, they need the corner now, but is this a playoff contender with those quarterbacks? Do you go all out for a team that I got to admit, I love their defense. I love a lot of their elements, but that guy that takes the ball every snap, I'm not convinced with either guy. So do you go all out when you don't know what the hell you have at quarterback?
I think they're a 10-17 as the ceiling. That's my ceiling for this team, 10-7. That gets you into the playoffs. And but they're never going to let the foot off the accelerator. Even when they're 7-9, 7-9, they're not letting the foot off the accelerator. They're trying to acquire big-time players to help push them to higher places. And so I do think it's a playoff team. I don't think they're going to win a division. I mean, look, Tampa Bay. It's amazing that they beat Tampa twice in the regular season and are a Jared Cook fumble away from going up a couple scores in the NFC divisional round. And all of a sudden it's falling apart. Now Tom Brady's celebrating with the Lombardi. It's crazy how this game works sometimes. But no, I think they're a playoff team, but I do think I'm putting the ceiling at 10 wins for them. 10-7, I think, gets you to the playoffs. Even with the quarterback quandary that they have right now, I still think they're good enough that they can get there.
Well, you got to follow him on Twitter. He's always a great follow. At Larry Holder, catch his work there. At The Athletic. Larry, as always, my brother, thank you for taking some time. Strong stuff and looking good, my man. You're ready for the 2020 season.
I'm not ready for the season. I like chilling out, but hey, it's always good to catch up with you, Big O. And I like this video stuff, man. We'll have to do this again. You got it.
Yes. This is how we're doing things now, man. It's the modern way. It's I think it's good also for the viewers and all that. Even though, as you know, it's all podcasted and that's where your major audience is on the digital side because everybody listens and watches on their own time. But yeah, this is actually really cool. And a lot of people love this style of doing things. So I appreciate you taking the time, my friend.
You got it. I know we'll talk again soon. Take care.
You got it, baby. There you go. Be good. Larry Holder from The Athletic. That was good. That was good stuff there from Larry, man. I love that. And the answer for Ireland. Wow. Because it is interesting, isn't it? That Spielman and Ireland kind of made their bones here. And then they made a lot of mistakes because they were young at this. I talked to Jeff Ireland 2 years ago at the Combine, right? Was it 2 years ago? No, I think it was 3 years ago now at the Combine, I believe. Yes, it was 3 years because I didn't go to this one and I didn't go to the last one. So it was 3 Combines ago that I talked to Jeff. I saw him. I actually ran into him on the street. Well, we were walking, I was going to actually to go eat something and it looked like he was going back towards the stadium. And we crossed each other and we started talking. And by the way, it's, he knows I slammed him when we were in Miami. Okay. He knows me very well for the days when he was here, but he, believe it or not, he's cordial with me. Okay. And I get along with him actually. And so I talked to him and I congratulated him on, the Saints' success and the success in the draft. And I go, I can tell that you had a lot to do with it. He goes, well, how can you tell? And I go, the athletes, dude. The athletes, you're always big on athleticism. You're big on your players being athletes. That because you feel even if they're raw, you can still convert them and coach them up. And he looked at me like, okay. And so he, he has had a lot of success there in New Orleans. And you just heard Larry like talk about him like he's, incredibly important to their success there in New Orleans, that he's added a lot. And, it just Rick Spielman, the same thing. Rick Spielman was caught in a power struggle and they made all kinds of screwy picks. And in the end, we don't really know, especially with the Spielman Wannstedt, who picked what sometimes. You know what I mean? Like the Eddie Moore one was not Rick Spielman. That was Wannstedt. But the things like that have happened. I heard that the cornerback was Spielman instead. So it just, it all Fletcher, Jamar Fletcher, by the way, if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, because you might be too young. So it all depends on the way you look at things. But it is kind of strange that the two guys who are much maligned here have gone on to do much better in other places. I mean, Rick Spielman, like I told Larry earlier, the only thing he hasn't figured out yet is the quarterback. Whether it's Bridgewater, whether it's Cousin, he hasn't been able to find the right guy because none of those guys are the right guys. Your team has to be so dominant for you to win with Teddy Bridgewater. You have to have the Cowboys line from the mid-90s along with Emmitt Smith, and then pick whatever Jerry Rice or Michael Irvin or Hopkins, or you got to have like something special there, right? And then on defense, you need to have the steel curtain, the doomsday defense, the no-name defense, the 2016 Broncos, the 01 Ravens, the 03 Bucks. You better have those kind of special defenses. And then you can win with a Bridgewater and a Cousins, because all you need them to do is just make a couple plays, and that's it. Because they can do that. Game managers can do that. But if you need someone to be a difference maker, neither one of those two guys are difference makers. They're not the guys that elevate teams. They're not the guys that elevate players. They're not the guys that make people better. People make them better, kind of like what goes on with 17 in Tennessee. They make him look better, than what he really is, because he can't elevate other people. And that's the problem there for Rick Spielman. It's been a problem for him for a while. But overall, offense, defense, dude, he's done a great job of drafting. Excellent job of drafting. Really has. That's the screwy part, is that both guys have had better success out of here than anywhere else. Now, could have been the coaches that were involved with and the politics and all that crap. Maybe that's what polluted it. Who knows? Great stuff by Larry Holder, by the way. Let's see. Back to football. I think GMs have a good relationship with the head coach. Communication between those two is the difference between success and failure. I agree. Ireland started at the Jets, didn't he? No, he was at the Bears, I believe. I believe we got him from the Bears. I believe his mentor was Tom. Oh, he passed away. He was a well-known personnel guy for the Bears. I believe it was Tom, the first name. Maybe somebody can help me out there. I mean, when you got to remember everything off the fly, it's just a pain in the ass. But he had a guy in the Chicago front office that kind of was his mentor and kind of brought him into the business and taught him the ropes. And then he was able then to come to Miami after that. But I forgot the guy's exact name, but it was Tom something. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. What else do we have? I don't think we got any other football stuff there on the chat board. Remember, folks, please smash the like button. Is extremely important that you smash the hell out of that like button. So freaking important. That sends a great message. And that also gets the algorithms sending it out to other people out there. Well, it looks like we're going to go into hour number 3 today once again. And music, by the way, just a little music news. Kansas violinist Robbie Steinhardt passed away at the age of 71. We're talking about the man who made the violin rock. Okay. 71 years old, was working on a new album, was almost pretty much finished with the album, and was actually starting to, he had a band together that he was practicing for a tour this year, actually. So it's sad that he passed away. We don't know why he passed away, but Robbie Steinhardt, obviously, a Hall of Famer in my book, because Kansas is a Hall of Fame type band, and obviously meant a lot to the band. I saw the original Kansas years ago in the Sportatorium, but recently, I want to say it was about 6-7 years ago, I went to see Kansas, and I forgot which venue it was. Steinhardt came in and popped in for a song or two, and that was cool to see him with his old bandmates. And this Kansas version, by the way, sounds phenomenal. Okay, I'm not telling you that they're the originals and all that. Nobody will ever take away anything from the originals, but overall, the band nowadays sounds fantastic. They still have, I think it's about 3 original members still on the band. But overall, the other members that they do have, they really maintain the Kansas tradition. It's really cool. Iron Maiden, by the way, is taking out a double album. Senjutsu, I think is how it's pronounced. I have no idea. The song Writing on the Wall, which they released, I heard it yesterday, was really good. I like it. September 3rd, they will release their 17th studio album, and it'll be my 17th studio album I own of Iron Maiden, because I have all their studio albums, and I have some of their live albums too. The Killers have announced that they will release a new album. It's called Pressure Machine. More importantly, the Killers are coming to town for a terrific concert. They are coming next year, 2022. So it's over a year away from now. It's September 13th of 2022. But the reasons why I mentioned the Killers are coming to the AAA, it's because Johnny Marr is opening up, dude. That is awesome. So for those of you, Johnny Marr is the guitarist of the Smiths, the Beatles of the New Wave era in the 80s. You can go Depeche Mode if you want. I'm going to Smiths. You can go The Cure if you want. I'm going to Smiths. Cure's my favorite band out of all those, but I still think the Smiths are the gods of that era and that music. They're the Beatles of that alternative wave that was going on. I think they're the pinnacle. I think they're the band that could get together and fill stadiums all over the world if they felt like it. Okay? People will go see Morrissey and Marr any day of the week and twice on Sundays. Of course, those of us that love and appreciate the Smiths, which I think there's a lot. And there's a lot of young people. I want you to do this. If you do like the Smiths and you do like the Killers, go look for This Charming Man. And it's Johnny's on stage with the Killers. Okay. And Brandon Flowers, the singer for the Killers, is singing This Charming Man. And it's a phenomenal performance, man. Brandon Flowers does a really good job. Nobody's Morrissey. He doesn't sound like Morrissey. Actually, when you see Johnny Marr solo and he sings it, it sounds pretty close to Morrissey. I mean, I got lucky. I saw Johnny about 4 years ago at the Culture Room. So it was awesome to see him in a little place like that. And it was fantastic being right there in front and watching him jam, dude. It was awesome. But if you like the Smiths, and you'll love, because Johnny's half of his set is Smiths. The other half, he does his own stuff, with the Messengers, because it's Johnny Marr and the Messengers is his band. And he has some good music. I have a few of his CDs. He does a good job with his music, but obviously half of his set is the Smiths, and you will enjoy him playing a lot of the Smiths songs. So if you want one that's really, really cool, go check it out next year. I don't know when the tickets go on sale, but I am definitely going to be September 13th of 2022. You will catch me at the AAA for the Killers and Johnny Marr. That is awesome. All right, let's take a 1-minute break, about 90-second break, and we are going to come back for hour number 3.
Starting in August, longtime Miami Heat insider Ira Winderman joins the Big O Radio Show. Ira will give insight twice a week on your favorite NBA team. Heat fans get the information you crave from one of the best in the business. From weekly appearances to breaking news, join Ira Winderman exclusively on the Big O Show. Found on most platforms.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchased with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
We are ready with our number 3 of the program. Appreciate all of you for chiming in. And normally it's 2 hours, but, sometimes we do a little bonus, and this was some of it. George is telling me Palmer was his grandfather or something, played for the Eagles or something like that. No, I'm talking about like the guy that got him into scouting, and you're talking about Jeff Ireland, by the way, rolling over from the last conversation. I think his name was Tom or something like that with the Bears. I'm trying to remember the guy's name, man, but it's just brain farts to try to remember all this stuff. But anyway, welcome aboard for hour number 3. Appreciate all of you out there, as always, tuning in and supporting us any way that you can. Remember to smash the hell out of that like button. It's very important to smash that like button while you're watching. Also, you can reach out to us on the YouTube chat board. You can also reach out on email, bigoradioshow@yahoo.com, bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Almost everything is Big O Radio Show, man. Almost everything except for Twitter and one of my Facebook pages. Yes, because we have another one that's Orlando Alziger, another one's Big O Show. But anyway, we got that going on. And remember that you can also support the program through Cash App and Venmo. It's Cash Big O Show for both. If you want to find our address, Cash Big O Show for both there on Cash App or Venmo. Always appreciate all of you out there. And I don't know if I mentioned everything else. Twitter, Big O Show. That's another way to reach out and connect with us. Steinhardt died at a hospital in Tampa, Florida from complications of acute pancreatitis. Oh, okay. I did not see that. Okay. I know he lived here. He's lived here forever. He's lived in Florida for a long, long time. I think that's why he was able to show up to that event to that concert a couple of years ago with Kansas, because he was a Florida boy. We got a lot of people that live here in Florida, actually, a lot of musicians that live here in Florida. Nico McBrain lives here. Obviously, he's got his Rockin' Ribs place. Igwe Momstein, who is actually performing, when is it? I think it's this, isn't it coming up or something like that? Isn't it like early August or something? If I'm correct, pretty sure it's kind of like early August. So, what's it called? He lives in Hollywood, I think. So a lot of artists live down here. A lot of people live down here. I mean, it's kind of a place where people like to live. We got a pretty nice setup here in South Florida. Anyway, all right, we got hour number 3. We got a bunch of things that I want to talk about. Great conversation with Larry Holder there, and very interesting what he brought up on maybe they part ways with Latimer here and they bring in X. That makes a ton of sense there to make that move. Okay, I'm a Dolphins fan for life, okay? But I do become a fan sometimes of specific players because, look, Derek Jeter. Never been a Yankees fan. I don't give a rat's ass about the Yankees. The Yankees could lose 162 games a year, and I wouldn't lose 1 ounce of sleep. I'd be laughing my ass off. But love Derek Jeter. That's one of my favorite baseball players of all time. Not my favorite. My favorite is Mike Schmidt. But Derek Jeter is one of my favorites of all, like Tony Gwynn is, like Cal Ripken. There's just some of those dudes that just you admire, because Walter Payton is my favorite football player of all time, but it's kind of the same thing. I just admire people that do things the right way, because I know I can't do it. You know, I mean, I watch Russell Wilson, how he handles everything, and I could never be as perfect as that dude is. You know what I'm saying? So there are things that I admire about some of these people who are in high pressure situations, and I become fans of them. And I'll root for them unless they're playing my team, of course. Okay. As much as I loved Walter Payton, I'm standing in the Orange Bowl cheering my ass off as the defense for the Dolphins is shutting his ass down. Okay. Not only did they shut him down, they knocked out every quarterback on the roster. They made Walter Payton play quarterback by the end of the game. I don't know if any of you were at that Orange Bowl game, but I was. Anyway, so I don't, if you're playing against my team, forget it. I got to go against you at all times. Justin Fields. I am going to be rooting for this kid for a long time to come. Not sure if some of you saw what he did, but an incredibly classy move. Last month, the Chicago resident named Scott Morrow was walking down the street when he suddenly felt a sharp pain and collapsed to the ground. He had been shot in the back and was now fighting for his life. As he rode in the ambulance to a nearby hospital, he was inspired by the thoughts of Justin Fields. A lifelong Bears fan, Morrow thinks Fields has what it takes to be the best quarterback Morrow has ever cheered for, and he wants to live long enough to see it happen. Within a couple moments, I thought, well, I'm 41. Pretty much all of Chicago has gone our whole lives without even having a great prospect for a franchise quarterback. I can't die before seeing Justin Fields take the field, Morrow said on 670 The Score. I don't plan to die before he's a Hall of Famer. So when Fields heard that, he decided to pay Morrow a visit while he recuperates. Morrow documented on Twitter, said just met Bears QB and future Hall of Famer Justin Fields, as well as his lovely parents. I can't believe they came out to visit a little old gunshot victim. And Morrow's GoFundMe page, which still has a lifelong road to recovery after having his spleen and one of his kidneys removed, as well as damage to his stomach, pancreas, and abdomen. I mean, the crime and gun issue in Chicago is just, God, it's crazy. It's out of control. It's scary, man. And to see that this man is just minding his own business, gets shot. Look at all that he has to go through. And then Justin gets a hold of this and shows up. Dude, I mean, we don't have enough of these kind of people in this world. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty cool to see Justin Fields do something like this. And this alone right here, it just looks like, I mean, listen, he handled all the adversity this offseason, people talking crap about him and all. Since the draft, I've been kind of pulling for him in a way, because I thought he got kind of jobbed in the draft. And I'm sorry, I don't see some of the guys in front of him that are actually better than him when I see him. But maybe they're right. They get paid to do this for a living. We'll see if Chicago does end up getting the break of all breaks. Hey, the Dolphins, it wasn't some smart thing that they took Marino, because the dude fell all the way to 20-something and 5 other quarterbacks were taken before. So you were kind of like, whoa, what a bargain. Let's take him now. The guy's got a world of talent and you hit on it. This is it's an inexact science, as they say. And so maybe Marino was going to come in and was a loose cannon and didn't turn out to be anything, but he ended up turning out to be incredibly special. This kid, Justin Fields, played his ass off for the Ohio State Buckeyes, showed some incredible toughness in that Clemson game. I see a winner in the kid. Now, I've seen winners at the college level that can't play at the NFL level. We'll find out. But I've seen lesser talented guys. I've seen guys that have accomplished less than Justin Fields have success in the NFL, and I've seen plenty fail, of course. this guy, I don't know, I'm rooting for him big time. Unless the Bears play the Dolphins, then I want us to intercept Justin Fields about 67 times in that game. But if he's not playing the Dolphins, I'm rooting for that kid, man. That's a classy move, and I feel terrible for the gentleman Morrow who ended up getting shot, because that just, there's no place for that, man. I don't know. I've already gotten into that. I already told you our gun laws are just absolute garbage. That's what's going on with us, unfortunately. Anyway, remember, you can reach out to us on the YouTube chat board. Also, remember, when you're listening to the podcast at any time, day or night, whatever, Twitter, Big O Show, you want to react, or email bigoradioshow@yahoo.com is another way that you want to also reach out to us too. I got to say, our thoughts and prayers to Greg Knapp and his family going on right now. I know the Jets released a statement. Knapp, by the way, is fighting for his life, according to reports. Jets have confirmed Knapp's situation is dire. The head coach, Robert Saleh, is asking for prayers for the assistant coach in his statement. Greg is such an amazing individual. It's hard to imagine this challenge facing him and his family. Greg's fun nature, kind disposition, and wealth of knowledge has allowed him to make genuine connections with all of our coaches, players, and staff since he's been here. I ask you to keep him in his prayers, and we're all pull for him as he recovers from this horrific accident. And he had a bike accident, and this is like going around. Like, did you see Ray Allen? Ray Allen just recently had a bike accident, and he credits wearing his helmet to why he was able to, survive it, actually. And it's just sad, man, to see that that the man has to go through this. And listen, forget the Jets, Miami rivalry and all that kind of crap that we all get into. I don't care about that kind of stuff, man. I just, you don't want to see that happen to anybody. I just saw in Stewart, right? I think it was Stewart. There was a man that was riding on a bike path, and he fell off the bike path and fell right onto a gator. Okay? Fell onto a gator. Gator bit him, obviously. They saved the man. But this biking accident stuff, man, I don't know why, but there's been this rash that we've been seeing of people. I don't know if it's just me that I happen to run into all these different stories with bike accidents, but it's a real shame, man, what's going on with what's it called? With all these accidents. I'm trying to find the statement. Here it is. Let's see. This is all a statement from the Jets. It says, oh, wait a minute. Hold on a sec. Okay. All right. Okay, good. Greg is an amazing father and husband whose passion for life can be felt in all his interaction with people. He is a rock, our biggest supporter, pushing all of us to strive to better ourselves each day with constant love and inspiration. While many know him for his achievements as a coach, his impact as a father and husband are far greater. We are so fortunate to have him in our lives. We are sincerely thankful for all those who have continued to reach out and provide support. It has meant the world to us. We ask you to continue to pray for Greg and our family during this time. So our prayers to Greg Knapp, the Jets family, everybody, because we don't want to see that happen to anybody. Look, man, we want people to lose games. We want to beat the Jets. You know what I mean? But we don't, we want to also be decent human beings on this show. You know what I'm saying? It's that's not something that's going to better us. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to better our league. It's not going to better life, because obviously he's got a family that needs him, in a big time way. That's why I always get mad at players when they bitch and complain about the league not taking care of them. And meanwhile, they're on the field taking dirty shots at each other. And it's like, don't be hypocrites, dude. Like, that guy you're taking a cheap shot at, that guy's a father and a son and a husband and a brother and an uncle to somebody. They're important to other people. Play the game. Play it the right way. It's brutal enough as it is in that game. Look at Cam Akers. Didn't even get hit. and blew out his Achilles. No need to take cheap shots at people. It just, these are the frustrating. So yes, we're Dolphin fans. We hate the Jets, yada, 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 all that crap. But, this is something this is life, man. Way more important than football. It's so sad. You're on a bike and now that's crazy. I gave you 3 incidents. What's it called? Ray Allen's messed up a little bit, got some scratches, bruises, all that, but did not suffer any major damage. This other person falls into a gator. This man here is hanging on to life right now after a biking accident. This is kind of stuff, man. It's just disturbing, man. It's sad. It's sad. And it shows you how precious every day is. Every day you are able to open your eyes. When you wake up, you must be grateful that you get another day to enjoy, because we have no idea when our last day is sometimes. It's crazy. Just is. But prayers to the Knapp family. And hopefully he gets a full recovery and all of that. Let's see, what else do we have to talk about? We got a bunch of things that I wanted to talk about. Did you see the Raiders? Their president, Mark Bedane, resigned. Now, there was no specific reason. They just announced he was there for 30 years. He was an integral part of building the beautiful Allegiant Stadium that they now have in Las Vegas, which, by the way, that Allegiant Stadium was a disaster over the weekend. They had a country concert there, first country concert there. And it doesn't matter if it's rock or country or pop or R&B, just be prepared if you do go to Vegas. Apparently, the parking was inept because there's very little of it. Even if you wanted to Uber or taxi or whatever, the traffic was, people had to get off their cars and walk a couple of miles in the heat to get to the stadium. There were people passing out on the way to the stadium. Yeah, there actually several people passed out because the heat that's going on right now. There's a dry spell in the West Coast, although they just got pounded by rain in the last 48 hours, which really helps because every lake out there is just incredibly low. But they're getting pounded by a heat wave right now, big time, and they had to end up walking like 2 miles. And you're talking about women in heels and all kinds of stuff. And you see them. Some of them are dressed up, some aren't. You know what I mean? But still, the fact that it was a nightmare to get there. But anyway, so he has retired after 30 years. And there's a part of me that's like, I wonder if he had enough, like he made enough money. He's going to retire, and he doesn't want to be around to see the rest of the mess. I mean, when I asked Matt Verderam from Fansided, he thought they're a last place team, and I think they're a disaster too. And remember, I told you about this yesterday, how the Raiders are failing, and you look at the Dolphins, and you need to appreciate what the Dolphins have done in their turnaround, because it's been fast. Okay, it's been fast, it's been effective, it's been productive, it's real. You know what I'm saying? The Raiders, they're going into year 4, and they're not even going to 500 this year. You know what I'm saying? So this is pretty bad. So I'm just wondering if that guy's like, I don't want to see the end of this and the Gruden and the fighting that's going to end up happening with Mark Davis. And because eventually Mark Davis is going to have to say in another year or two, like, yo, what the F is going on, John? You're not doing anything here. Because he's going to have to answer questions all the time in public, like, hey, you hired John Gruden, you haven't done anything. You haven't even made the playoffs. You can't even be 500. I mean, it's a sad run so far for the Raiders. I mentioned it yesterday. I have it here in my notes. 4, 7, and 8 wins. That's what you've done in 3 years. I mean, that's not hopeful, dude. That's not hopeful at all. And you made so many changes that you're afraid you screwed up again. So I just wonder if this guy, Mark Bedane, stepped down because he knows what's coming. And he doesn't want to be a part of the mess that's gone on with the stadium, the mess that's on with the team, the mess that you have with that head coach who's a clown show, the clown that is the owner, Mark Davis. So, I mean, why what we should do to the Allegiance Field is actually put a top. That really is what we need, because it's an enormous clown show. And while it's a beautiful stadium, the franchise is a clown show. So let's put the big top on, right? Let's do it. I mean, Chucky already makes clown-like faces. So what the hell? So Mark Bedane wants to get the hell out. GP Trap Hewitt says Bruce Lee died on this day back in 73. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Always love going. Every time you went to a Bruce Lee movie, you came out wanting to fight, and you think you could take on the world. Not that you could, but you thought you could. At that moment. It's kind of like the thing with Jaws for many years. People go see Jaws, and then they didn't want to go to the water. That kind of stuff. Same thing with Bruce Lee. You went to see a Bruce Lee movie. You thought you could fight the world and beat them all, man. It's a beautiful thing. Speaking of let's talk a little bit about a former Dolphin, because this is one guy that Kenyon Drake was always an interesting discussion for us down here in the Dolphins Nation. And Kenyon Drake, as you all know, segue, is part of the Raiders. So Kenyon Drake gets moved by the Dolphins because they didn't want to give him a big contract, right? And he had the injury history and all that stuff, and they didn't have enough of a work, a body of work of his to be secured, which I had no problem with that. And he goes to Arizona, and he actually played well, and he had some games. So now I ask you this. So he showed up and had some games for Arizona. Why didn't Arizona keep him? Is Chase Edmonds that much better? I like Chase Edmonds. But so what is it with Kenyon Drake? So if Kenyon Drake is so good, why wasn't anybody willing to give him the number one job? He had to settle to go play for the Raiders behind Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is a pretty damn good player, bro. Damn good player. That's one of the picks that they've made it's pretty good. Kid's a baller. But you're back to being a number two again. Don't you find that strange? What is it about Kenyon Drake that we don't know behind the scenes? Why is it that somehow or another the Dolphins and Arizona didn't trust him? And yet he had moments for both, had more for Arizona than Miami because he had more playing time in Arizona. But yet they still said, no, we're going to go with Chase Edmonds. It's weird, isn't it? I find that strange because it's something that we always talk about, yet and never panned out. And we had Dolphin fans crying and clamoring for his ass all the time. Oh, we should have signed him. We should have kept him. Well, nobody wants to keep him. Nobody wants to make him a number one. Isn't that strange? Isn't that weird? Because I just wonder, what is it? What is it about his personality? What is it about his work ethic? What is it about Kenyon Drake that he has the ability? We've all known that, but somehow or another, he can't find the trust. He can't find the team that says, we're gonna give you our number one job. And he's still pretty young. He's still young enough, and his body and everything is healthy enough to actually carry the load. Be a number one, be a 1A maybe, because obviously we don't have bell cows anymore. But at least a 1A. Here he's not 1A, he's 1B. Okay? And we're talking about 1B like Josh Jacobs is going to run 2 or 3 series and then he'll run 1 or something. He's not going to be running. When you have Josh Jacobs, you don't need to use Kenyon Drake a lot, but you do want to use him some because you don't want to wear out Josh Jacobs. But I just find it kind of strange how he's bounced around and has talent, but nobody gives him the job. That's strange. And for those of you out there that clamored for him, I wonder what you're thinking now about him. Big O, 52 years ago, Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. You're all full of fun facts today, my brother. I did not know that. Damn, this is a pretty good day. Bruce Lee movies in the 70s at the Thunderbird Drive-In. I love it. I love it. Let's see. How dumb that they fired Reggie McKenzie. Well, what are you going to do, bro? Hey, their loss is our gain. So, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they made it to the playoffs. He's the guy that drafted the quarterback, right? It's just, by the way, he also drafted their best player in Khalil Mack that they traded away to. I just, whatever, bro. The black dude gets the short end of the stick. Wow. What a shocker. Crazy. Let's see. If he's been there for 30 years, I'm sure he's learned how to read the writing on the wall. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Flip side. Ian says Kenyon is not the running back that he thinks he is. Well, clearly they also don't think he's the running back either. But yeah. Drake is suited to be a backup running back. You think he has durability problems? He's had some, yes, he has. And maybe that's why they don't trust him. I don't know. There's got to be a little bit more than that, bro. It's got to be a little bit more than that. Sad about Bruce Lee. Still, my daughter was born on this date in 88. When someone dies, a new life is born in this world. There you go. Nice one. Happy birthday to your daughter, Rosendo. And Stanley Kubrick filmed that landing. Oh, for Neil Armstrong. Okay. I thought you were going to tell me Evel Knievel and the Caesar's fountains. I'm joking. Just probably lost half of you with that reference right there. What else did I want to talk about here on the show that we had going on? Oh, I want to thank Hard Knocks because it takes a skill to make sure you can sign the proper train wreck. And I hate to say it, our Dolphins with Joe Philbin, freaking train wreck. It's what we were for many years, bro. It's what our team was. You know what I mean? Now our team is going to be wrecking other people, which is a beautiful thing. But that's, not here or there. But I just want to thank them because the really good teams never really want to be a part of this thing. It's rare that you get a really, once in a blue moon, you'll get a actual decent team that'll be a part of it. But it's always, Rex Ryan, and it's always the clown shows that are going on, the Raiders, whatever, the Browns. I thank them for that, or the Dolphins, by the way, when we had our own appearance on that one with the Chad Johnson fiasco and everything else, and Phil had been picking up papers from the floor and all that. So it's just I watch it every year. I got to be honest. I love watching Hard Knocks because it is what it is. It's a clown show. And they usually pick, the Bengals or some team that is going to end up sucking, and a team that's a disaster, because it's not like the Kansas City Chiefs are interested in doing this. It's not like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are racing over to be, hey, pick me. Bruce Arians like, get the hell out of here. I don't want any of that crap. That's what I'm saying. So it's funny how the elite teams want nothing to do with this. You know what I'm saying? The Pittsburgh Steelers aren't looking to be on Hard Knocks. These normal franchises that are really good overall, you rarely get to see them on Hard Knocks. 95% of the time, it's a team that's going to be a disaster. And guess what? We get one in the Dallas Cowboys. Okay? Because again, I don't buy Dallas. I don't buy their defense. I still think they're going to struggle. I still think with Jerry Jones, you're always going to be a clown show when it's all said and done. Dak Prescott is coming back from a serious foot injury now. Ezekiel Elliott's got to try to find his mojo back. The offensive line has got to find their mojo back. The defense, it's a mess until you prove to me otherwise that you can actually do it. You can change another coordinator this year and next year and 10 more down the line. None of these defensive coordinators have been able to get it done because normally the guys you're putting your picks on, your money on, you're spending too much money in picks and wasting time with knuckleheads on defense. And that's been a problem for Jerry Jones for many years. And He can say whatever he wants. It's never paid off. Never. Why do I say that? Because it was Jimmy's teams in the 90s that won. Once Jerry took over and Jimmy's players were gone, it's been what it's been, a clown show. So I want to thank Hard Knocks for providing another clown show, because now we'll get to hear Jerry talk all kinds of crap, fall flat on his face like he always does, but he gets to sucker the Cowboys fans, and he gets to pack that stadium in and steal all that money from all these Cowboys fans. Because it's like what I was saying about the Raiders fans. How do you feel any confidence in the Raiders? How are you not pissed by now in year 4 of John Gruden? How do you not want his ass out when it's the writings on the wall, as somebody just put now, that you're not going anywhere with this guy? And you're a Cowboys fan. You're not going anywhere. And yet you allow yourself to buy into the hype. You allow other idiots that buy into the hype and talk about it every year, because this is America's team. They're America's clown show is what they are. Okay? It's America's clown show. They're another one that we should put the top. Remember when the Dolphins, before Greer, okay, BG, right, before Greer, that's going to be a new thing now. Dolphins BG, before Greer. You know, that parking lot next to the stadium, they used to bring the tent over, the Cirque du Soleil tent. And I always used to say, wow. I mean, apropos, the team's a clown show. They got a big top right next door. Perfect. So I'm thinking that's what we've got to do. Put a big top on the Raider Stadium. Put a big top on that big, giant, beautiful Cowboy Stadium. That would be a really giant big top, by the way. That's exactly what they deserve, because that's what those franchises are. But again, HBO, Hard Knocks, thank you. Look, there aren't a lot of comedies left on television that I enjoy. There aren't a lot of them that make me laugh. But Hard Knocks, more often than not, makes me laugh every year with the different clown shows that they bring in, and the Cowboys are up next. Love it. Way to go, Cowgirls. Make Michael Irvin cry again, because you suck. We got the game tonight, 9:00. We got, by the way, Dolphin fans, you saw Melvin Ingram worked out for the Dolphins, right? A couple weeks back, maybe a month back, I don't know. And we were talking about it. Steelers are now going to sign him on a 1-year deal. He's coming back from that knee injury, missed 9 games. I'm interested to see what they get out of him, because he must have been asking for the kind of money that Miami said, nah, coming back from that knee injury is not enough. We're not going to pay that kind of money. And the Steelers, obviously, and they lost several pass rushers last year to injury. That's one of the things that really hurt them last year with some of their main guys that get after the quarterback. So they add another guy. They don't have to play him full time, but I'm sure you're bringing some other guys back from injury. So maybe you have a fresher rotation. That's probably what you're trying to do. Melvin Ingram fits exactly with what the Steelers do. He's a heck of a player. But I think there must be some questions about his knee when he's signing days before training camp starts. Think about that. If you're a really, really good player, you're not going to be available at this time. But if you're still available, then there's something going on there. And so I'm interested to see what kind of a player Melvin Ingram turns out to be for the Pittsburgh Steelers and in that rotation, because that's a guy that I really wanted for the Dolphins. But there must be something there that did not convince them. Money, injury, I don't know what it is, but something's there. Can I tell you about a disturbing story? Now, some of you are going to laugh at this story, because some people laugh at this kind of stuff. And I mean, the storyline is kind of funny. It's sad, and it's kind of funny, and it's twisted, and it's evil, and it's sick. I mean, there's like all kinds of adjectives I can use to describe this. Now, as we all know, or most of us know, not that we've experienced that, I haven't, but a lot of people have. I've seen it a couple times, with my dad. Divorces aren't easy, okay? They're not easy on anybody, man or woman, doesn't matter, or man on man or woman on woman, whatever. In today's world, we gotta be sensitive to that. Could be any combination. Marriage is never easy, right? For Ben Zobrist, it got really ugly. And this is like one of those divorces that you never want to even have to deal with. Ben Zobrist took a leave of absence from the Chicago Cubs roughly 2 years ago after he was going through a divorce with his wife, Juliana. The split is still playing out, and to say it's gotten ugly would be an understatement. According to the court documents that were obtained by Phil Thompson of the Chicago Tribune, Juliana says her estranged husband, listen to this, was guilty of failing to preserve marital assets when he took leave of absence and forfeited nearly $8 million of his salary. She is seeking an even split of the couple's marital assets plus an additional $4 million, which is the amount she would have been entitled to if Ben didn't take the time off from playing, the COVID thing. So he takes it off to not risk anybody, and he loses $8 million, but the bitch still wants $4 million. And by the way, you get paid $8, there's taxes, right? You really don't get $8, but whatever. This is a woman that lives the high life, of course. So Ben called the claim utterly absurd and said through his legal team that his and Juliana's marriage fell apart after Juliana had an affair with the couple's former marriage counselor and pastor. Wow, we hear a lot of these pastor stories that are dirty, right? Byron Yon. Ben is suing Yon for $6 million in a separate case for intentional infliction of emotional distress and defrauding the Zobrist charity. Juliana admitted that in her deposition that she confessed her love for Pastor Yon in the late 2018. She threw a retirement party for Yon that year at the Zobrist farm and paid nearly $30,000 for it. Ben claims Juliana paid for the event by intentionally using an account that Ben typically did not keep track of. Isn't it nice to just you don't keep track of $30,000? It's $5 under the couch. Ben said Juliana admitted to having an emotional affair with Yon in the spring of 2019. First of all, does anybody believe that bullshit when somebody, no, I hadn't cheated. I didn't do anything physically. It was an emotional affair up until this point. Get the hell out of here. But Ben said Juliana kept in contact with Yon even after promising not to. Ben says Juliana coaxed him into returning to the Cubs late in 2019 because she wanted half the money he earned from his playing. It appears that one of the wife's main motives is concealing her affair with Pastor while participating in marriage counseling was to coax the husband back into playing baseball so he can further enrich the marital estate in which the wife is expected to receive significant sums of money once the court equitably divides the estate. So Ben Zobrist's memorandum claims one would be hard-pressed to concoct a more deceitful, sinister, and otherwise inappropriate scheme than wife has devised in this divorce matter. I mean, this is an evil bitch. Juliana eventually admitted to having a physical affair with Yon in June of 2020. The two are still together. Ben and Juliana have 2 children, which, as always, the children are right in the middle of all this. She wants primary custody while Ben is seeking 50-50 split. You can read more and yada, yada, yada. The Cubs, by the way, activated Zobrist from the restricted list on September 1st of 2019. He played the final 21 games of that season and has not played since. Imagine marrying that evil woman. Huh? Can you imagine marrying that? That is scary, dude. This is what scares you about marriage, I guess, sometimes for some people, because you just don't know what that person is actually. When you're not regular people like us, I mean, it's tough enough to marry and all that, but famous people, rich people, athletes, entertainers, whatever. I've told you this before, haven't I? Hang out with people that have as much to lose as you do. I'm saying, that's all. Because this is what happens a lot. Because you have people that really don't love you. They love your money. They love what you can provide for them. And there are plenty of these women out there that they don't want to work a dime, and they want the guy to make sure they provide everything, and they want to get pregnant, so they have you tied for 18 more years, and they can milk it and live a life of luxury and force your ass to pay all of that. And you got to be really smart in this game, in this world, because this is the way these women play this game. Crazy stuff, man. All right, let's wrap it up here on the show. We thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting us on the show. Remember, you can reach out to us, support the show, Cash App, Venmo, Cash Big O Show, email BigORadioShow@yahoo.com, Twitter @BigO Show, and anytime you want, whether you're downloading, and remember to hit the like button, smash the hell out of that like button. Let's get that thing over triple digits like we did yesterday. I appreciate all of you out there. I love you all. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, same bat channel, except we're going to be at Caneswear in Davie tomorrow, 2511 South University Drive, starting off at 11 a.m. We'll see you there.
Starting in August, longtime Miami Heat insider Ira Winderman joins the Big O Radio Show. Ira will give insight twice a week on your favorite NBA team. Heat fans get the information you crave from one of the best in the business. From weekly appearances to breaking news, join Ira Winderman exclusively on the Big O Show. Found on most platforms.